Blog Talk Radio.
Broadcasting from Cincinnati, you're listening to the Ringside Reporter podcast. All the news from the world of boxing right here.
Well, I'm talking to you the way I want to talk to you.
Now, here's your host, Eric Lorda.
And we are live. Welcome to the Ringside Reporter podcast, where we talk about the latest boxing news. If it's related to boxing, we'll talk about it here. My name is Eric Lorda, and I'm here with my co-host, Ringside Robert, and England's adopted son, Joe Beeb. And we have a great show for you today. And if you want to call and ask some questions, you can call in right now at 323-870-3857. And we'll be here till about 9 o'clock tonight, I would say. Today, we're going to talk about, this is going to come as a shock to everyone. Adrian Broner lands himself in the train wreck of the week again. He's back home where he belongs. Train wreck of the week.
That's why it's named after him, man. He can't stay out of it.
I tell you what, man. Big Baby Miller joins us live in about a half hour, right around 7:30 or so. And great news concerning Adonis Stevenson, and we'll tell you all about that. Great news. But first, we get started with PBC on Fox. Keith Thurman versus Josesito Lopez. 12 rounds for Thurman's WBA welterweight title. Robert, how long was Keith Thurman out? Was it 2 years?
Almost 2 years, 22 months.
Yeah, almost 2 years. Keith Thurman comes back and wins a majority decision over Josesito Lopez by the scores of 113-113, 115-111, 117-110. Thurman dropped, let's see here. Yeah, Thurman dropped Lopez in round two, looked great in the early rounds. He was moving well, landing shots, but then Thurman, right around the middle rounds, I think he started to fade. I don't know if he just got tired, but Josesito was really hunting that body in the beginning. The seventh round, I tell you what, the seventh round, he almost got taken out. Thurman did. He was hit, and he was just bounced all around that ring. He could have been given a standing 8-count at any point. He could have been. I mean, it was bad. I thought he was going to get him out of there. And I think if you had maybe any maybe an upper echelon guy, it would have got him out of there. And not that Josesito Lopez can't fight, but you know, Thurman did what he could to cover up and do his best. I didn't score it a 10-8 round, but you couldn't have questioned it if they did. That was about as close you can get to a 10-8 without a knockdown. Lopez did very well, but at the end of the day, man, just didn't have enough to beat Thurman. Beeb, you saw this fight. What were your thoughts on it, especially, and what were your thoughts on Thurman?
Well, you guys were shitting all over this fight last week, and I said, you know what? This fight may be better than you guys anticipate. We don't know how Keith Thurman's going to look after the layoff. This was set up for him to win. It was wrapped up in a nice Christmas present with a big bow on top. But let's talk about this a little bit. Keith Thurman said something before the fight that was very telling. He's going around telling everybody, you're not going to see the best Keith Thurman. Seemed to me that he was still concerned about those injuries that he had suffered. And during the fight, you could see that there was some hesitation. And in the post-fight press conference, he even admitted that there was hesitation because he was concerned about the injuries. And it looked like in this fight that he was doing just enough to win these rounds without putting himself in any danger at all. He even said at the post-fight press conference, he said, you know, Josesito Lopez basically took all the risk in this fight. But me, myself, I was hesitant. I was a little bit more reserved. I was a little bit more cautious. And tells you that he was holding back a little bit because he was not 100% confident in himself, because I don't think that he feels as though he was back from the injuries, or maybe he was concerned about getting injured again, because, you know, when you're young, you think you can conquer the world. And then as you get older, certain things happen to you. You know, you blow your knee out. You may tear a labrum in your shoulder. You may break your hand. And then you start saying to yourself, you know what? I am made of flesh and bones. I can't go out and just do crazy things and not, you know, worry about hurting myself. So I got to be a little smarter when I do things now. And a lot of times, too, the older you get, the more and more cautious you get with things you do. And then you start second guessing yourself. Well, should I do this? What if I do this and tomorrow I'll wake up and my back will be screwed up and I can't get out of bed and I won't be able to go to work. So Keith Thurman's already having that mentality of a guy who's concerned, and he's kind of babying himself a little bit. With all due respect, I'm not taking shots at the guy because I feel bad for the guy. Guy's had a lot of injuries in a row, got in that car accident, hurt the elbow, hurt the hand, and there was also rumors about the shoulder that he refuted. But this is not the same Keith Thurman that we knew back in 2013. This is a more mortal Keith Thurman. This is a more human Keith Thurman, a Keith Thurman that has suffered a string of injuries very close together, and a Keith Thurman that talked about being depressed during this layoff. So Keith Thurman is a guy who's in his physical prime, which is great, but mentally he does not seem like he's the same fighter. So you could have all of the physical prowess in the world. You could have your youth, you could have your speed, you could have your reflexes. But if you're not mentally confident in yourself, mentally confident that your body is going to hold up, not mentally confident enough that you can go through a fight without injuring yourself, then that's a problem. And he even said, all I have to do is win 7 rounds. So that's like someone saying, well, all I have to do is just make enough money to pay my bills, and that's it. Well, what if the car breaks down? Well, what if the boiler in your basement breaks? Well, what if the roof goes in your house? What if one of your kids gets sick? So if you're sitting there going through a fight saying to yourself, all I have to do is just do enough to win 7 rounds, just do enough to get by, you don't know what the judges are seeing. You don't know how the judges are scoring that fight. One of the judges had it 114-114. Another judge could have had it 114-114, and then you walk out of there with a draw. So I thought he won 8 of the 12 rounds, but he had to work for those rounds. Those rounds were not easy. Those rounds, he just barely won a lot of them. Some of them he won, few of them he won clearly, but a lot of them he just eked by. And this was a Keith Thurman that was moving a lot more than we normally see him move. And this was a guy that was not really sitting down on punches. He was throwing flurries. He looked like a cross between Paulie Malignaggi last night and Amir Khan. He was doing just enough to score points, and he was really, really concerned about what was coming back at him. And Josesito Lopez did a great job. He was doing good with his jab, but the key punch to this fight was that lead right hand, which set up that left hook to the body and that left hook to the head, which is a combination that Canelo Alvarez has used very successfully and used it in the Triple G fight. So, as I said, I'm going to stick to my guns because Manny Pacquiao's name did pop up several times at the post-fight press conference. I think anyone that's not named Errol Spence or Terrence Crawford, I think Manny Pacquiao has a great chance to beat. And I would pick Manny Pacquiao right now over Keith Thurman because that Manny Pacquiao that beat Adrian Broner looked a lot better than this Keith Thurman who just beat Josesito Lopez. So this was a Keith Thurman that did not sound confident to me at the end of this fight, did not sound confident to me at the post-fight press conference. And by him saying that you're not going to see the best Keith Thurman, that's something that should go without saying. You should even, if you're a professional fighter, you're not supposed to tell your opponent or give your opponent or give the public any indication of weakness. And by telling somebody that you're not at your best, you're exposing yourself. You're showing weakness. And that's a weakness that could be used against you, which it was last night. Because Josesito Lopez definitely overachieved. A lot of people were shitting all over this fight. And I said, you know what? Let's see how this plays out. This is interesting. I didn't think Josesito Lopez was going to win, but maybe he could do better than a lot of people anticipated. And I've just seen a different mentality from Keith Thurman. I know a lot of people have said this, but ever since that Soto Carras fight, Keith Thurman has moved a lot more. He's not, taking it to guys like he used to. He's not one time anymore. I don't think he's one time anymore. I think he's sometime right now. And every now and then he does sit down on some shots, but he's just doing just enough to win fights now. And he mentioned Floyd Mayweather's name. He said Floyd Mayweather is the best 7-round fighter of all time. But that's a horrible mentality, as I said, not to sound redundant. But if you're going in there thinking you can win 7 rounds, and you're not thinking about what the judges are doing, you're supposed to have the mentality, I'm going to win as many rounds as I can. It's not your job just to win 7 rounds. It's your job is to win all the rounds if possible. Don't leave it in the judges' hands. You don't know what the judges are going to do. You don't know what they're watching. A lot of judges, favor that come forward style. You were backing up a lot in that fight. You're lucky that you had judges that respected your boxing ability, because Julie Letterman certainly didn't. So at the end of the day, I think we saw a different Keith Thurman, and I think this could be the Keith Thurman that we're going to see moving forward from now on. And I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I think if he fights Manny Pacquiao next, or if he fights Sean Porter next, or even if he fights Danny Garcia next, I don't think he's going to be champion. I think he's going to lose his next fight if he fights any of the top fighters in this weight class. I think Manny Pacquiao beats him.
Joe, I think you hit the nail on the head when he said he looks like a cross with Amir Khan. I really believe that. He really does. I mean, that's what he reminded me of last night, almost like a points fighter. Wasn't the Keith Thurman, but, that being said, we haven't seen that Keith Thurman that was knocking everybody out in quite a while. But I do think, who could have imagined Spencer Crawford in there last night? You know what I mean? And we talked about it last night, and I got a lot of heat for my comments with Manny Pacquiao last week, which I stand by because, I'm just saying. But I tell you what, we talked about this last night about him and Manny Pacquiao, because that name really came up. And who would you favor? Who would you favor in that match? Based on last night, I would favor Pacquiao in that match. I really would. And that's saying something because, like I said, man, Thurman really should have. Listen, Josesito Lopez was chosen for a reason on this comeback fight. He was absolutely chosen for a reason. There was a reason all of us were dumping on that fight last week. It shouldn't have been an exciting fight. It shouldn't have been. Robert, what was your take on this?
Frankly, Keith Thurman, even though he's only 28 years old, guys, looked like somebody who no longer is interested in being in a boxing ring. It looks like he was just there to collect a paycheck. He didn't care whether he really won or really lost. And I firmly believe if you're Manny Pacquiao and that fight is offered to you, you take whatever money is offered, you sign the contract, and you go in there and you get the legitimate title. And if you're anybody in that 147-pound weight class, Crawford, Spence, Garcia, Porter, you ring Keith Thurman's phone off the hook and see which deal he'll take. Because, frankly, he's on a banana peel, and he looks like he does not want to be in a boxing ring. Josesito Lopez has been in too many fights, and he was chosen because he was supposed to be a showcase opponent for Thurman to go in and show everybody that he was back. If possible, Thurman was supposed to knock him out. And what he showed last night is Josesito Lopez, even though he lost, he cared more about his performance and put on a performance for what he was capable of doing. And you know what? He's going to get another payday out of this. Keith Thurman is maybe a one-more-time fighter, and that's it. I think after he loses his next fight, you'll see Keith Thurman ride off into the sunset because I don't think he really wants to be in the boxing ring anymore. That's the way it looked to me. And like I said, if I'm anybody in the 147-pound weight class, if you're offered a fight with Keith Thurman, you sign on the dotted line and you go in and you take that title. Because I think he wants to give it away. And I think had Josesito Lopez in the 7th round had a more legitimate power punch, he might have been the new champion last night. I was not impressed with Keith Thurman at all. And I think we're going to see Keith Thurman one more time, and he'll lose, and that'll be it. Keith Thurman will be one time, and he'll be done.
And if I may, Eric, I just want to say one more thing.
Yes.
going back to the Floyd Mayweather comparison, what people tend to forget, and I think what Keith Thurman tends to forget, because he's mentioned Floyd Mayweather, the best 7-round fighter. But let's remember this. In that Canelo fight, he won a lot more than 7 rounds.
Yes, he did.
In that Mosley fight, he won a lot more than 7 rounds.
Yes, he did.
And if also, too, and if you look at those fights, Floyd Mayweather is criticized for being defensive, but he actually walked Canelo down in spots in that fight. Yeah. He actually walked Shane Mosley down in spots in that fight. Floyd Mayweather had hand injuries. He had shoulder injuries. He's had problems. But one thing you can say about Floyd Mayweather, when he threw a punch, he turned it over and he snapped it. And he hit guys hard enough to get their attention to prevent them from wanting to come forward. He got people's attention. He didn't just throw pitter-pat punches. He didn't just throw get-off-me punches. He turned the shots over, and when he felt comfortable in there, he would walk a guy down. He never went in there and left it up to the judge's hands. He had the mentality, I'm going to win as many of these rounds as I can. I'm going to hit this guy as cleanly as I can. And if the knockout comes, if I hurt the guy, I'm going to try and get him out of there. You know, after that knockdown Keith Thurman had against Josesito Lopez, he took his foot off the gas pedal. This was a guy that was not confident in his abilities at all. This was a guy that was second-guessing himself the whole fight. And this is no disrespect. Anyone that steps in that ring deserves full respect. These guys put their lives on the line. I know it's not easy. I know that. And I know you should not sit there and let a guy tee off on you just so you can please the fans. But at the end of the day, you can't second guess yourself in there. You got to take a guy out, because if you don't take a guy out, you could be the guy getting taken out later in the fight. So that's the thing. You can't leave anything up to chance in this game of boxing. And if you second guess yourself in this sport, one wrong move could be your last. And that's the thing. This is what's dangerous right now about this mentality of Keith Thurman, because he could end up getting hurt, and getting in some trouble here. So that's not what I want to see.
Let's play devil's advocate here for a minute. Now, Keith Thurman was out for 22 months, had surgery and all this other good stuff. Was this, number one, did he take this fight lightly? And number two, was this a fair representation of Keith Thurman? In the sense that it was a comeback fight. He has been on the shelf. Maybe whoever they put in front of him is going to get up for this fight because they can smell an upset. It's almost like, in March Madness when they get up for the little teams kind of get up for those big games. This is a big opportunity for Lopez. This is a big opportunity for him and his family and everything like that. And for Thurman, not so much. He knows that if he wins, he should have won. It's kind of like a lose-lose almost. So are we being too hard on him?
No, and I'll tell you why. No. I'll tell you why we're not being too hard on him. Because did he look slow last night?
I thought in the first few rounds, the first 5 rounds, first 6 rounds actually, because 7th was winning. I would say about the first 5. I thought he looked fairly sharp. I thought especially in the first 4 rounds, he looked fairly sharp. I thought his jab looked good. But I don't know, like I said, I don't know if his conditioning failed him. I don't know if those body shots, that's what,
Well, when you talk about ring rust, what is ring rust? Ring rust is physical, right?
Yes.
It's reflexes, it's speed, it's timing. All those things were there. But once he got hurt, mentally he got unraveled. Could we at least maybe assume that or say that? Is that a fair assessment?
I don't know because you could say once he got hurt, he mentally unraveled, but that was in the 7th round and he finished the fight.
Well, that's when things started turning. That's when he started really going into a shell. And even early in the fight, when he hurt Lopez, he didn't step on the gas and try to take him out of there. So this wasn't a physical thing of him being rusty, in my opinion. This was a mental thing. And if you have a mental thing, it's a lot harder to take care of than a physical thing, in my opinion. Because this guy is, what's he, 29 years old? How old is Keith Thurman?
28.
He's 28 years old. He's in his physical prime. So everything should be going on all 12 cylinders right now. But you're 28 years old, you're a world champion, you were a unified world champion, and you're talking about things like, well, I'm not at my, this isn't the best Keith Thurman. This isn't the best Keith Thurman. I was very hesitant. I was apprehensive. My job is to just win 7 rounds. And he admitted to himself that he lacked confidence, that he was second-guessing himself, said all these things at the post-fight press conference. So to me, this isn't about ring rust, Eric. This is a mental thing. This is a guy, again, who's had a couple string of injuries in a row, and after a while you say to yourself, Jesus Christ, I'm walking on landmines here. Then every step I take, I'm getting injured. Every move I make, I'm getting injured. It's almost like a police song. Every step I take, every move I make, something will break. You know what I'm saying? It's like, this is a guy, that was pretty catchy. I like that.
I like that.
This is a guy that through bad luck has really taken a blow to his confidence level. I think the injuries are starting to wear on him mentally, because he's missed so much time. If you listen to him after the fight, having to be out, recovering from this injury, recovering from that injury, I got depressed. There's a lot of mental anguish that you have to overcome. Whereas Tyson Fury is a different animal. This is a guy that came back from the depths of hell. This was a guy that had one foot in the grave, that was contemplating suicide. But at least physically, they didn't have any ailments. But the drugs were taking their toll on him physically. The overeating was taking its toll on him physically. The drinking was taking its toll on him physically. So you can say what you want about Tyson Fury, but he's got to be one of the most mentally strong people in the world, because he overcame the bad luck. Keith Thurman, I don't think, went through the same bad luck as Tyson Fury, but he's went through some trials and tribulations and some hardships. But it sounds like he's starting to succumb to that and succumb to them. And that's a problem. So I think he's on the downward slide. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope he can come back and just say, you know what, the hell with this. I'm either going to do it or I'm not going to do it. But at the end of the day, when you're nursing injuries and you're concerned about getting hurt again, and after the fight, you're already having the doctor look at your hands and you're getting x-rays because your hands are sore again, that's a problem. Guy's injury plagued. He's like David Haye. He may never come back and be the same.
Who do you think should be next? He had mentioned Pacquiao a lot last
night. Pacquiao should be next.
Well, Pacquiao is his mandatory, Eric. So that's one of the easiest fights to make.
Well, we know that the mandatories don't mean much, but he had talked about 2 tune-up fights before going after some of the bigger fish. Does he take another tune-up fight, or does he take the Pacquiao fight and kind of see where it goes?
I think you throw money at him and you put him in with Pacquiao and let the lion eat.
Just want to respond to something quick in the chat. The Funktopus. Did I say Tyson Fury had bad luck? I said Keith Thurman had bad luck, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
Yeah, I never said Tyson Fury had bad luck. I said he went through some bad times and he overcame them. I didn't say he had bad luck. Is when you throw a punch and you break your hands. That's bad luck. I didn't say Tyson Fury had bad luck because he decided to go on a coke binge or a eating binge or a drinking binge. I didn't say he had bad luck. I said he had bad times. I think it's totally different between Keith Thurman. What I will say is I think his situation was a lot more serious than Keith Thurman's to some degree, because I never heard Keith Thurman say he wanted to commit suicide. So that's want to correct that point in the chat.
All right.
No, if I am if I am Michael Kuntz or anybody affiliated with Pacquiao, I grab my pin as soon as possible and I sign the contract as soon as it's offered.
And here's another thing, too. Deep down inside, right, Tyson Fury probably knew he wasn't 100%. But during any of those interviews, because honestly, he should have probably had more tune-ups, right? Most guys would have taken more tune-ups before they fought a guy like Wilder, right? But did he ever say, "I'm not ready. This isn't the best Tyson Fury"? Did he ever say that? Maybe his father said that. Maybe I said that. I said it was a 75% Tyson Fury, and I said it was going to be enough. But did he ever utter those words out of his mouth? Did he ever show any, give any indication and give his opponent any hope by saying, this isn't the best Tyson Fury"? Tell me, did anyone ever hear him say that?
The answer to your question is no.
And that's the thing. When you're saying these things before a fight and after a fight, that shows a lack of confidence. You know, you're not supposed to say those things. Those things are supposed to be kept in the back of your mind, deep in the back of your mind. No one's supposed to know that.
Yeah, I would agree. It just lets you know that he's thinking about something else. Maybe he's thinking about the after. You know what I mean? After the fight game and that kind of thing. And that's tough.
Well, Eric, if you're a 28-year-old and you're already thinking about what you're going to do next, that's a problem.
Wow. Yeah, I agree. All right, let's talk about the co-main here. Adam Kanaskie versus Jarrell Washington, 10 rounds heavyweights. Wow. Kanaskie scored a second-round KO over Jarrell Washington. Kanaskie looked really good. I was surprised he handled Washington so easy. Can't understand why the ref let Washington continue after that knockdown. That was suicide putting him back out there. I don't know what that guy was thinking. Yeah, I don't know what that ref was thinking, but yeah, that was bad. But Kanaskie looked really good. Were you guys as surprised as I was that he was able to do what he did against Washington that easy?
Yeah, it was a total destruction, man. I didn't expect that at all.
Yeah.
Because look at the trouble Jarrell Washington gave Deontay Wilder before Wilder was able to stop him. You know, I expected that kind of Jarrell Washington to come out and really test Kanaskie, but boy, Adam had other ideas, and he took care of business early.
Yeah, he sure did. I mean, that was impressive. That is the most impressive I think I've seen him. I mean, he looked amazing out there. Beeb, what were your thoughts on it?
I was very, very impressed. And this is another guy that showed you don't have to be a body beautiful to be an effective heavyweight. He's part of the functional 300-pound club. He
he weighed 258. I didn't think that was too bad, Beeb.
Robert, stop raining on my parade.
Okay, all right.
He's part of the functional 258-pound club.
There you go.
All right. So he joined the club. He joined the Big Baby Miller. Lack of physique. Fat shaming.
I'm saying nothing. I'm saying nothing.
He's part of the anti-fat shaming boxing crowd now. All right. He's on the Beeb's round mound of rebound top fighters in the heavyweight division right now.
Unreal. All right. So, what do you guys think is next for Kanaskie, man? I mean, he looked really good. I was. You know, and and I think that Washington kind of fought the wrong thing the wrong way because I think he probably should have boxed a little bit more, and I think that was his plan going in. But again, I mean, I think that Kanaskie's power and his style and the way he came at him has a lot to do with that. You know, that's not a knock on Washington. I mean, it's just like we all know he's a durable guy. He's a good, you know, he can fight. You know, but man, he looked good.
I don't know about you guys, but I would like to see Adam Kanaskie in against Dominic Brazil. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see.
Jason just said that in the chat, and that was on the tip of my tongue. I was getting ready to say that. That's a great fight.
Yeah. He's right. He fights like a Mexican. He does. He really does.
Yeah.
The guy fights like a Mexican. He comes forward. He just throws punches, and I don't know. Yeah, he looked pretty amazing out there. That's what I thought anyway. Let's see who was else. The big upset on this card last night. Marcellus Wilder versus William Dietz. 4 rounds, they were cruiserweights. Now, Marcellus Wilder, you guys may know him as Deontay Wilder's younger brother. All right? And he's a cruiserweight. He came in, I think he was 3-0 with 2 knockouts. He got blown out, apparently. He got, and I didn't see the fight, but he was knocked out in the 4th round, got a 4th round TKO. I don't know what these guys are thinking, man. He had 3 fights. Wilder had 3 fights coming in. Dietz had 18. I think Dietz was 12-7, or maybe 6-12. I think he was 6-12 coming in. That's still 18 fights. Beeb, does that count for something?
Well, I don't. I mean, I didn't know too much about his opponent, so it would be hard for me to really make a judgment on that because sometimes these records are inflated. We've seen that before. Maybe they saw some tape of the kid. Maybe they saw the kid fight. And maybe they thought he was tailor-made for Wilder. I don't know, but I didn't know much about the guy he fought, so it's hard for me to make that determination. And the matchmakers should know more than me because they're the guys that are in the know. So, just because his record was a little bit glossy, I mean, I don't think that tells the full story, Eric. I don't know.
I mean, an inflated record. I mean, but he was 6-12 coming in. So clearly they weren't looking at wins. I mean, but the guy still has 18 pro fights to the other guy's 3.
Well, they were probably more concerned about his 12 losses.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's the thing.
I mean, doesn't that count for something, though? I mean, like I said, when you get in, I guess it just depends on the fighter.
Well, apparently it did last night because he took the L.
He took it hard too. 4th round.
Sorry to say he took the L that way, but it is what it is.
Yeah, that was a rough go, man. That was a rough go. So yeah, I don't know.
And he was winning the fight too. He was winning the first 3 rounds before he got stopped. So
was he winning the first 3? I didn't see it.
That's what they say. So maybe he's ready for put him in there again in a rematch.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, who doesn't want to see a rematch with William Dietz?
Well, it's a confidence booster for Wilder.
Absolutely, it is. Absolutely. Well, I don't know about now, but.
Yeah, Mr. Boxing today. That's what I heard too. I heard he was winning. Heard he won all of the previous rounds before getting knocked out. That's what I heard.
That's insane. What a way to go. I mean, really, what a way to go is win all the rounds and just get dropped in the 4th round. And only a 4th round, only a 4-round fight. Only a 4-round fight. But yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to go catch that fight. I'm gonna have to go to YouTube it or something like that because I don't know. It's a tough one. Tough loss for him. It's a big setback, but it's early. It's early in his career. He's only got 3 fights. It's not that bad.
Yeah, I think he needs a rematch to get his confidence back. He was winning the fight.
Yeah,
he was winning the fight. So
yeah. Somebody in the chat asked, "Where's the footage?" It's got to be on YouTube somewhere.
I was searching. I was searching everywhere for it. I can't find it.
Was that on the undercard? When you?
No, they didn't show it on the televised portion.
It wasn't televised, and they didn't even show it. Usually they show clips of stuff like that, and they didn't even show it.
Yeah,
I was surprised.
Surprised too.
No,
that's kind of
because I watched all 3 of the undercard fights that they did show, and of course all 3 of the fights on the main portion of the Fox card. And they didn't show Wilder at all.
So what would we grade that card last night? Would we give that card a B?
Maybe a B minus.
Yeah, I think so.
Once again, PBC outshines the zone. Can we say that?
I don't know, man. I don't know. That Munguia Inoue fight was really good.
I think so.
It was really good. That was.
You think that was better than the Thurman fight?
Yes. It was definitely.
I don't think so, Eric.
I don't know. Depends on what you like, I guess. I don't. They were both good fights. Listen, they were both good fights.
It was more drama in that Thurman fight.
Well, there was more. Well,
there was a knockdown in it.
I could say there was more on the line, but I guess there wasn't. Yeah, I guess yeah. I don't know.
That Thurman fight was better.
But I will tell you this: the card overall was better. The card overall was better because, like I said, you had Kanaskie on there. You had the rest of the Fox undercard. It was on PB. What was it? Fox Sports 1 or whatever. So you definitely had it. And the DAZN card, the DAZN card wasn't as strong, I don't think. For sure was not as strong as...
that first fight on Fox, though, man, left a lot to be desired. They should have put that on the undercard portion.
Who was that, Robert? That was Marrero, wasn't it?
That Marrero fight, yeah, the Claudio Marrero and the guy from Mongolia.
Nambiar?
Yeah.
So tell us about that fight.
Well, frankly, I wasn't impressed with either person. It was a waste of 12 rounds. How do you say his name? MBR. He pulled it out, but I really was not impressed. And if this is Gary Russell's mandatory, it'll be easy work for Gary Russell. And I think it's time that Gary Russell steps it up and gives himself a real test. Since he only fights once a year, but this is going to be a layup for him.
Yeah, this guy ain't beating Gary Russell.
No.
There's no shot in hell.
Well, Gary Russell fought last night. Gary Antoine Russell.
Yeah, and boy, Antoine Russell looks really good.
Yeah. All those Russell guys, man. They're all named Gary Russell, and they can all fight.
Yeah, but the one that fought last night has more power than any of the rest of his brothers. Because he had 8 fights and 8 knockouts.
Man. What weight class is he again?
What is he? 130 or 135, one of the two.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember, like I said, man, I remember watching Gary Russell even prior in the Olympic trials and everything like that. I mean, he was solid back then.
And whenever he throws a punch and he hits somebody, you can hear it, man. I mean, it's not soft, you know.
Wow. There it is. All right, let's talk about the DAZN card real quick. We're still waiting on Big Baby. Let's talk about the DAZN card real quick. Jaime Munguia versus Takashi Inoue. 12 rounds for Munguia's WBO middleweight title. These two, I don't know if you saw this or not, these two almost got into a fight at the Houston Rockets game the night before. They brought them out to center court, and they started pushing each other. I mean, it was just like a face-off, like a friendly type face-off for, just to promote it and stuff like that. They started pushing each other. These guys don't like each other, man.
Isn't this 154, Eric? You said middleweight. Middleweight's 160.
Did I say middleweight?
Yeah.
All right.
You meant 154, Robert.
Yeah, I meant 154.
That's what I thought.
You're a player. You knew what I was talking about.
Okay.
Inoue, I tell you what, man. Inoue really impressed me last night. He left everything out there, really took the fight to Munguia. That being said, Munguia was just a better boxer out there. He seemed to hurt Inoue down the stretch with body shots, but these two went back and forth. It was really a good fight to watch. It was really a fun fight. At the end of the day, Jaime Munguia wins a unanimous decision by the questionable scores of 120 to 108 twice and 119 to 109. For the judges, for two of the judges, not to give Inoue credit for winning a round is incredible.
That was disgusting.
I mean, I had him winning, I don't know, 3 or 4 rounds. I don't remember the. Let me see if I got it on my card.
Now is Inoue related to the smaller Inoue?
No,
not at all.
No, I thought he was too, but no, he's not. I given Inoue 4 rounds. I thought he really took the fight to him.
I gave him 4 rounds too.
Yeah. I really thought he took the fight to him and everything like that. It was really exciting. Beeb, what was your take on Inoue here?
It was so weird because early on the fight, he was throwing a lot of punches, but he wasn't really landing clean. It was kind of a sloppy fight early on, and I thought that Munguia did some good work early on. I thought he won the first 3 rounds based on just having an effective, accurate jab. He was going to the body very well with his left hook. He was stepping in behind his jab and dropping down to the body. I thought that Inoue was just coming forward very aggressive but not really effective. But, Inoue started throwing this real wide, looping, awkward-looking right hand as the fight wore on. And Munguia was lying on the ropes. And Inoue was landing that shot. I mean, he was landing some good right hands in there. And Inoue was doing some good body work. The guy's not pretty, He's not, a fighter you're going to watch if you're trying to teach someone how to box. He's not the guy that you're going to use for that. But this guy had a ton of heart. He was in phenomenal shape, and there was no quit in him. He wanted to win that fight badly. You could see it in his body language. You could see it in his behavior. You could see it in his mannerisms. This guy fought with tons of heart and tons of effort, and he laid it all on the line. And the fight was pretty entertaining. But the thing is I thought it was a little bit sloppy. There was a lot of punches that were not landed cleanly. I think Munguia smothered some of his shots. I think Inoue smothered some of his shots. And, but Inoue was swinging for the fences with that right hand. That right hand had bad intentions on it. But, yeah, I gave Inoue 4 rounds.
Yeah, it's every punch he threw had bad intentions.
Yeah, I thought the fight was a very entertaining fight. And I thought that Munguia was going to walk right through this kid, but once again, the script wasn't the fight didn't play out like the script had said beforehand.
Yeah. What were your thoughts on Munguia and the way he fought? I thought that he was actually he looked good. I mean, he looked real patient. He was able to weather the storms, and handle that pressure. I mean, because Inoue was putting a lot of pressure on him, and then he was able to create some of his own. What were your thoughts on Munguia?
Well, I don't want to make excuses for Munguia. I really don't. But he definitely needs to step up and weight. You could tell that he's not comfortable at that weight. He just looked flat to me. He looked good in the beginning of the fight, but he started looking flat as the fight wore on. Started looking like the air was getting let out of his tires. And I don't want to take anything away from Inoue, but I've seen Munguia sharper than that. I've seen him late in fights with a lot more energy and a lot more intensity later in fights. Whereas last night I thought he kind of faded a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know. He looked like his boxing looked smoother to me. I don't know if that's the way he always did, or maybe I just wasn't paying attention.
Well, you got to look who he was in.
Smooth.
You got to look who he was in there with. It's not hard to look smooth when you're in there with a guy that's so rough and rugged and unpolished, with all due respect, as Inoue. So when you put him next to Inoue, yeah, he's going to look great. But when you put him in with Liam Smith or something like that, he's just going to look like a bulldog.
Yeah.
So I will say this, though. I'm not wishing bad on anyone, and I'm not trying to jinx anybody, but he's a knockout waiting to happen, in my opinion. He gets hit way too much, and he gets hit flush. He gets in there with the right opponent, and he goes up to middleweight. Those guys are going to starch him.
De La Hoya said that he wants to make Charlo and Munguia. Bad idea?
Charlo's good, but I don't think he's as sharp as I don't think he's as sharp as Jacobs. I don't think he's as sharp as Golovkin. I would still favor Charlo against Munguia, but I think he would have a better chance against Charlo than any of those other guys. So I think it's bad. I think it's bad for a first fight at middleweight.
No. He wants to fight the 154 Charlo. Is there Jamal?
Oh, Jamal. Oh, I thought you were talking about Jamel, you mean?
Yes, Jamel.
No, that's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea.
It is a good
but
fight,
the question is, will the two sides work together to make the fight happen?
You know what would have been awesome is if he could just fight Tony Harrison instead.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think he beats Tony Harrison. I mean, I could be wrong, but I would favor Tony Harrison.
I still think Tony Harrison won that fight against Charlo, too. I had it 115, 113.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so did the judges. I mean, the judges had him winning, too. So, listen, man, I mean, everybody sees different angles. Everybody sees different things, and everybody likes different things when you're fighting. You know what I mean? Everybody likes different stuff. So, let me ask you, I didn't catch this one. Zucan versus Jesus Rojas for the WBA featherweight title. Zucan wins a unanimous decision by the scores of 118 to 110, 117, 111, 116, 112. From all accounts, it's a very exciting fight. Beeb, did you happen to catch this one?
I didn't see it, Eric.
Okay, yeah, I didn't. I couldn't remember if you did or not, and I know I did. I was back and forth. I was watching the PBC card versus this one. I only watched the Munguia fight on this one, so yeah, I didn't catch it either. So there you go. There's our list. All right, let's go to the upcoming fights here. And Robert had mentioned it was Super Bowl weekend.
Yes,
week.
it is.
I guess there's a big game going on. I don't know.
Well, which reminds me, everybody, we'll be on at noon Eastern time next Sunday.
Yes, noon Eastern time, so you guys can all watch the game because I know everybody likes football. All right, let's see. What is today? Today is the 27th. So
you're probably looking for February 1st, Friday.
I'm looking for. This is why I have you around, Robert. This is honestly why I have you around. February 1st in Rochester, New York on Showtime. I believe it's a ShowBox card.
That is correct.
Ronald Ellis versus DeAndre Ware, 10 rounds, super middleweights. Logan Yoon versus Richard Zamora, 8 rounds, junior welterweights. Dominic Wade on that card versus, let's see here, Martin Fidel Rios, 8 rounds, middleweights. There you go. On ESPN Deportes on February 2nd, Frisco, Texas. The big one, Eleider Alvarez versus Sergey Kovalev. It's a rematch, 12 rounds for Alvarez's WBO light heavyweight title. Also on the undercard, Teofimo Lopez versus Diego Magdaleno, 10 rounds lightweights. Oscar Valdez versus Carmine Tomasane, 12 rounds for Valdez's WBO featherweight title. And Richard Kame versus Isa Chanaev, 12 rounds for the vacant IBF lightweight title. That's a stacked
now. Is that
card.
Is that regular ESPN, Eric?
It says ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and ESPN Plus. So maybe it's on both. I don't know.
Okay.
All right. London in the zone, February 2nd. Sergio Garcia versus Ted Cheeseman, 12 rounds for Garcia's European junior middleweight title. Jake Ball versus Craig Richards on the undercard there, 10 rounds light heavyweights. Lawrence Okoli also on that undercard. Let's see what else. And that is it for next week. Robert, let's go to you here real quick. What are your thoughts on Eleider Alvarez and Sergey Kovalev as far as how does that fight wind up? Does it come out?
Well, number one, let's get this on the table. This fight shouldn't even be taking place because of Sergey Kovalev's legal situation. I mean, we report the stories as we get them, but if there's any validity to what we talked about last week, and if there's any factual proof to it, he should not be allowed to even fight. I mean, realistically. But look, putting all the legal issues aside, it'll be a good fight, but I favor Alvarez because I really begin to wonder how much of Sergey Kovalev is left to, he's no longer the crusher. I mean, his last fight, with the way he got totally destroyed, basically proved that. But on moral grounds, realistically, I don't know if this fight should be taking place.
To be fair, though, as horrific as these charges are, the guy has to have his day in court.
I agree.
I mean, we have to believe in this, the judicial system.
I believe until innocent and proven guilty, it's just the fact of the story,
Then the fight should go on then. And if he's not guilty, then the fight should go on. Now, if he gets found guilty, then some of these sanctioning bodies have, the WBC has what's called a moral clause. So then they could take care of it that way. They probably won't allow him to fight if that's the case. But until he has his day in court, I don't think we can say that he shouldn't be able to fight. He shouldn't be able to do this because we all have rights in this country, and I think we all should have our justice. I think we should all have our justice, and we should all be protected under the Constitution, which states that we have a right to a fair trial.
Yeah, no, I agree, and let's be honest, we got to be careful these days with how we conduct ourselves with all the stuff that's going on in this country currently. So
should the fight go on or should it not go on? Based on
well, I firmly believe that this is questionable, but you bring up good points.
Okay.
Well, wait a minute now. If it was any other place, wouldn't he be suspended?
I would think so.
Why? He's not found guilty yet.
Any other workplace, though? I don't know.
No.
I mean,
no, because if someone says to you that it depends. Like in certain jobs, in certain jobs.
Yeah. I mean,
well, this is assault. So, well, this didn't happen.
Classified as domestic violence assault almost.
Well, this didn't happen.
I don't know because I don't know if they were together, but I mean, it's close.
But this didn't happen on the job. This happened outside of work.
But couldn't an employer say, look, I don't want this kind of person working for me?
Absolutely, because you don't have a contract with your employer, so you're an employee at will. So they could fire you for wearing the wrong shirt. If they don't like the color of your shirt, they could fire you. So that's a different situation.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
I just think ESPN looks bad for putting this guy on TV, and I'll be surprised if they have the guts to even bring this stuff up. So to your point, Robbie, let's play devil's advocate and give your point a little bit of credence. Okay.
You're saying because of the negative attention and just the charges alone and the evidence that's been presented so far, it's just a bad look all around, and ESPN should probably try to save face from this bad situation, regardless if he's guilty or not. It still looks bad. It's
exactly.
It's a bad look, and there's a lot of negativity swirling around this fight because of it. So
exactly.
So let's give you a little bit of credit on your points. I see where you're going with that, and maybe you may have some points too.
I mean, maybe under the consideration here, Alvarez should be fighting somebody else. That's because I mean this is a dark cloud hanging over a major promotion, and of course, wouldn't you know, they're putting it in Texas, where, let's face it, the Texas Commission pretty much allows anything to occur.
Yeah, that's what I think. That's one of the weaker commissions in boxing, is the Texas one.
I mean, now look, California has been questionable at times, but you put this, say, in New York or Nevada, I don't think this fight's allowed to occur.
All right.
I don't know. We'll see. I mean, we'll see. Who do you think wins this fight?
I personally think Alvarez wins.
Yeah, I see Kovalev declining with every fight, even though he's still a good fighter and can beat a lot of light heavyweights. I just don't think that he's getting better. He's actually getting worse. And if he's going to decline further, I think that he's going to have a harder time beating this guy Alvarez, man. I think Alvarez showed some real promise in that first fight, and he proved that he could hurt Kovalev. Like I never seen Kovalev hurt like that before. I never seen Kovalev beat up like that before. I think that's going to have an effect on his psyche going into this rematch.
And if I remember correctly, Beeb, when we talked about this fight the first time around, we didn't expect Alvarez to be able to do that. We thought Kovalev, because of his experience, would be able to prove what kind of fighter Alvarez was, and it was exactly the other way around.
Well, I picked Alvarez, and I think Eric picked Alvarez to win the fight against Kovalev, but obviously we didn't expect him to win in that fashion.
Exactly.
Right, exactly. All right, I think, I could be wrong, but I think we have Jarrell Miller on the line here. Let's see here. Jarrell Miller, is this you?
Jarrell speaking, I'm cool.
Jarrell, Big Baby Miller, how are you, buddy?
I'm good, how are you?
Pretty good. Hey, it's great to have you on the show. It's your first time on here, man. Let me tell you what, I was doing some research on you. We always hear that you were like a kickboxer. You know, they bring that up almost in every telecast. But the one thing they don't bring up is how good you were and what a high level of kickboxer you were. I mean, you were in K1, the K1 Grand Prix Glory. You fought Mirko Krokop twice, Pat Berry among others. How did you go into boxing, and why didn't you go into the MMA route?
I was always doing boxing and kickboxing from a young age, and kickboxing finally kind of ran its course, and it was just time to start going after bigger money, bigger and better things, and boxing was always my ultimate goal, and MMA wasn't that appealing to me, so I just followed my dream, which was boxing.
There you go. All right, so you're supposed to fight, or you were supposed to fight, or maybe you are supposed to fight Trevor Bryant. Is that fight gonna happen? I heard the WBA may have ordered that fight. What's going on with that?
No, not for me. I'm not playing any games or sanctioning everybody's do. A lot of promises and this and that and this back and forth. I already fought 2 more times already because of the belt. To get the belt, now I got to fight another 1 more time to get eliminated for a belt. Since Johan Duhaupas was a time eliminated. So we're talking about middle of last year. So now all of a sudden they want to do it again. So I don't have no time to do that for an interim belt. Type in the real heavyweight championship belt. So no, I doubt I'm going to be doing that tournament with Trevor Bryant.
I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, you talk about because it's not the real belt. I mean, it's how would you, I mean, is that how you view it too? I mean, it's a regular belt, it's an interim belt. It's not the belt.
Yeah, the interim belts. I mean, the WWE has a regular, but they have a super championship, and so having the belt does give you a couple more dollars in your pocket. And in the other weight classes, they look at those as champions. But for some reason, the heavyweight division, they don't really acknowledge it as much as do in the other divisions. And at the end of the day, I just have a clear path of doing something a little different than me locking myself into fight the 2 more fights, which is not really the direction I want to go in per se. So my main thing is staying focused and getting ready for a normal fight or getting ready for Anthony Joshua.
Well, that brings me to the next question here, man. Has there been any talk or offers about an Anthony Joshua fight?
Recently, yes, there's been talks about it. There was one offer that was made earlier today, as a matter of fact. So, I mean, there's talks about it. It's just based on that Dana White doesn't really want the fight, per se. He doesn't really, he's been hard on negotiation. So, I mean, they said if they can make a deal with me, they're going to bypass Dana White and fight me in June. So, Dana White might miss his opportunity because he wants to be stubborn on certain numbers.
So you said they made you an offer this morning. Good offer, bad offer, something I'm not going to take. What kind of offer was it? You don't have to get into specifics with the money, but just
it's not a bad offer. But if they offer you something, you always get more money on the table. And my main thing is getting in the ring, knocking this behind out, and then from there, I'm the man. So, like I said, we definitely don't give them a hard time with certain things, but not too hard because my ultimate goal is to get a title shot. And I was going to think about legacy first, and the money will come. So
let me ask you this. Would the fight take place in New York City, or would it take place over the pond?
It would definitely take place in New York City. That's what we've been talked about.
How big of a dream would that be for you to fight in your hometown for the one of the undisputed? I mean, because Anthony Joshua is the guy I think we think of when we think about the heavyweight champion of the world.
Yeah, he's definitely kind of surpassed, Deontay and his shenanigans. He's a money guy in the division right now, and the guy to really beat. I know there's a few guys that can't beat him, and I'm definitely one of them. So it's what I've been training for my whole entire life, and this is what I've been waiting for. So, like I said before, we're gonna see if Dana White doesn't take a deal. But trust me, I'm waiting right here to kick his butt.
There you go. You work with Eddie Hearn in DAZN. One of the big knocks on DAZN is that you're kind of limited on how many people watch you fight. Is that how you see it? And does it matter how many people see you as long as you're getting paid, or how do you view that?
I mean, the main thing is trying to get to a heavyweight title fight, and then from there we're gonna figure out, what's the best options for me. And right now, we've been putting a deal into place where, Canelo's bringing a lot of viewers to the app or to the outlet. I believe when I beat AJ, that it's gonna heighten what I'm doing and where I'm trying to take it. So, like I said, nothing lasts forever. But right now, we got to go where the money's at, and especially where the title's at. And right now, that's the zone.
Yeah, I hear it, man. Beeb, you have some questions for Big Baby Miller?
Absolutely. Jarrell, so much is made about your weight. I like to call it a functional 315 because when I see you in there, you're out working guys, you're punching in combination, you're moving well, your stamina is strong. When you hear all this talk about your weight and you're sitting there out working guys that are 20, 30 pounds lighter than you, what do you have to say about that? How do you feel about that criticism?
My whole life is grew up in criticism, so, and I'm not the person to make anything really affect me. I kind of just do my own thing. I do my own groove, and I've always been myself. It is what it is, man. If people feel like it's such a big thing, why don't you find a heavyweight to beat me? All these trainers out here, why don't you train a heavyweight that can beat me? So, I could care. 2 cents what they say. No one's even came close to even, beating me or scorching my punch output as of yet. I think the only person that can get close to my punch output is Adam Kanaskie. And he's been putting guys to sleep as well too. So, at the end of the day, man, big boys, we just build different. That's all.
Absolutely. Now, you work with Dimitri Salita, you work with Eddie Hearn. Do you have any long-term deal with Salita? I know you don't have a long-term deal with Eddie Hearn. How is your promotional situation right now? Are you on a fight-to-fight, or do you have a long-term deal?
Right now, we have a couple fights in place with Eddie Hearn. We're in renegotiations right now with Eddie Hearn. My contract with Salita is there for now. But when it's over at this point. I'm kind of want to be my own boss at this point. Which I really am still my own boss. It's just that I don't need nobody hanging over my head, and I think everybody's gotten their fair share of the work off my back already. So, once our contracts are up, I'm going solo and do my own thing.
So when you go solo, would you still be open to, like, say Eddie Hearn says, I'll give you a 3-fight deal, I'll give you this, this, and this. Would you still be open to doing deals like that? Or would you still want to do another fight?
For sure.
Oh, okay.
The main thing is again with bigger promoters. There's no reason to be with these smaller promoters, and they're not really doing no work. Eddie's the one that's really doing all the work. So it makes no sense being another small promoter who was just there to collect a check. It was cool in the beginning. Everybody get what they deserve, but at the end of the day, the fighter's the one paying the most with his own body. So I think that we should reap the most. So you don't need any middlemen when you reach a certain point. Everybody recuperate, or reciprocate what they put in at the end of the day and continue to move forward.
And then by having that type of situation, you're still always open to the highest bidder, so you're not locked into anything. So that's pretty good for yourself, I would assume. Now also...
Yeah, man,
Yeah. So Tyson Fury... everyone saw that fight with Deontay Wilder. A lot of people were surprised. I actually wasn't too surprised, but because I picked Fury to win. With Fury coming back like that and shocking everybody, does that inject even more life into the heavyweight division, and does that make you more excited that there's another player in the game right now?
Any more players in the game is more fun because there's more money that you can make. Tyson, he brought some light on the heavyweight division, and of course he exposed Deontay more already than he's always been exposed. But it's cool. It's nothing. I'm not in the Tyson Fury Deontay game. I'm in the Big Baby Miller game. So, if it concerns me, I'm cool. If it doesn't concern me, I give two cents about it. And at this point right now, they have unfinished business, and it is a lot of Deontay and him up together. And these opportunities for me to do what I got to do with AJ.
Now, you've been climbing the ladder, you've been fighting these contenders, and you're chomping at the bit for a title shot, and you've been waiting patiently. Are you getting tired of waiting? Are you a little bit anxious? How are you feeling right now in terms of the waiting game for that title shot?
I was a little anxious last year, but I kind of see the playing field right now, and some things have came out in the light where patience is always a little patience is not bad right now, and like I said, I don't even have to beg or even run around squealing and screaming and all that. People know I'm here. They know I'm waiting. I'm with the network that has the biggest name in heavyweight division right now. So, like I said, there's only one or two guys who can really fight. Dylan White or Deontay, and then it's Big Baby. So Deontay is going to be locked in right now, and Dylan White might price himself out of a fight. So it all depends.
So, outside of yourself, I know that you talked about Anthony Joshua being the money man, and everyone knows that he's the money man in the division. But outside of yourself, who do you think would be the toughest challenge for you? Who do you think is the best heavyweight out there outside of yourself?
I think Tyson still has long attributes, long arm. He's always an awkward guy to deal with. Deontay, another tough guy that's out there. My other Brooklynite, Adam Kanaskie, another tough guy, throws tons of punches. Ortiz, older dude, but still a veteran, still has some gas in the tank. A lot of good competition still out there. So, style makes fights. So, any given day, somebody can slip up. So you gotta be in your piece and choose to be ready.
Speaking of Kanaskie, what did you think of his performance last night? He really looked sharp last night. Did you anticipate him getting Washington out of there that quickly?
Yeah, I didn't think Jarrell was going to get washed up out of there as quick as he did. I just felt like I thought maybe he would learn a little more in my fight. And, don't judge the book by its cover. And, slugging it with guys is not really his forte. But I tell people, too, when I fought Washington, I think he's a lot different, better shape. And he's coming out of Klitschko training camp. And I was in an 11-month layoff where, I didn't have any fights. Adam has having tough fights out of tough fights back to back, and he was ready for that, So, and he showed people he was ready for that. So, even though I stopped him at 8 and Adam stopped him at 2, it's still a good entertaining fight, and he did what he had to do.
All right, well, that was my last question, Jarrell. Things are looking good for you right now. I hope you get that Joshua fight. Seems like you may get that Joshua fight next. The way negotiations are going with Dillian White. Wish you the best, man. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, sir. We appreciate everything, man. Thank you very much. All right. That was Jarrell Big Baby Miller, quite possibly the next heavyweight champion of the world. Beeb, what did you make of when he said that, that they contacted him today about a contract? We talked about the money, and he said it really wasn't about the money right now. He said he wants to get the belts. That's what it's about. Do you take that to mean that, that's going to be, because it sounds like it's between him and Dillian White. It sounds like Dillian White is kind of the fight they want. Am I off base saying that?
I honestly think the fight that Joshua wants is Big Baby Miller, because he wants to fight in the United States. He was very excited about being in New York for that Canelo fight.
Yeah.
And he was hyped up about that. And also, he wasn't too excited about the Dillian White fight because he already beat Dillian White. So this will be a new face, and this will be a great opponent to make a debut against in the United States, in New York, because he'll bring his home fans there, Jarrell Miller will, and this could really turn into a real media frenzy. And plus, there's bad blood between these two guys. The build-up for this fight would be amazing. So I just think that this would be great, man. I think this would be a great opportunity. I think it would be a great fight and a great show. So I'm kind of hoping he fights Miller next, because we already know what happened with Dillian White, and at least Miller is a good boxer, and he has a style that could probably be more problematic for Joshua than Dillian White, because Dillian White is going to get in a slugfest, whereas Miller will probably try to box and move a little bit more, and he's probably a little bit tighter defensively.
And the one thing I found interesting is he said the contract said the fight would be in June, not because remember Joshua supposedly has that April date in Wembley. If Eddie Hearn and company's already focused on June, it'll be interesting to see how he fills up that Wembley Stadium date, April 13th.
Well, he's been trying to fill that April date, and I don't think he wants that April date for Joshua right now. I think he's trying to put someone else in that slot. He's trying to put Amir Khan and Kell Brook in that slot. So I think he'll try to throw someone else in that slot. I think that Joshua's not going to fight in April. I think he is going to fight in June.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I've been hearing. I mean, if they said that if he was going to fight Big Baby Miller, that fight was going to take place in New York City and was going to take place in June. That's what I kept hearing. So
no, I you know what? I hope he gets it. I really hope he gets it. But you know, the way boxing politics works, the one question, if I had any to ask him, well, what would be your backup plan if they make a deal with White? Because I'm sure you don't want to sit around and wait. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and I thought it was interesting because it came out, I think Mike Coppinger from Ring TV, I guess, he had said that Miller was going to fight Trevor, the WBA ordered Trevor Bryant, and he said that fight was going to happen. He said that there was 2 fights the WBA ordered, like their little heavyweight tournament to see who fights Joshua, and he's right. I mean, he's right by saying, hey, look, it's just not, who cares? He wants to fight the big champ. Why should he have to fight another? Why should he have to fight another mandatory? You know what I mean? Why that doesn't make any sense? And he's right.
Well, I think his last 2 fights have been WBA eliminators.
Something like that. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
So why have a third? I mean, there's no point in that. I agree with him wholeheartedly.
But they did the same thing with Dillian White too.
Yeah.
They wanted him to fight Louis Ortiz as like an eliminator. He had already fought eliminators. Yeah. So him and really him and Dillian White are in the, they both, deserve it.
Yeah, but Dillian White more so, I think, from an accomplishment standpoint, deserves it. And he's been ranked #1 for like 12 years now.
It's kind of too bad that this whole thing can't be settled in the ring and you put White in against Miller and then the winner gets Joshua.
Right. All right, guys, before we go to the phones here, remember to subscribe to us, subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to us on YouTube, hit the like buttons, hit the thumbs up button, guys. I mean, well, we're doing our best for you here, man. We're trying to do our best for you here. We don't ever ask for money. All right. Tweet the show. Yes.
Share the show on Facebook.
Right.
Help us out. Any social. Because the bigger we get, the better we'll get.
Right.
That's right.
Absolutely. And Robert, his salary is going up crazy. So we got to try to keep up with him, man. I've got to try to pay him, and you know how that goes, man. He's a diva.
And then the bigger we get, also, we can get the Jarrell Big Baby Millers of the world, and possibly we can get, No,
I applaud him for coming on. That was fantastic.
Yeah.
That was awesome, man. Yeah, he's a good guy, man.
Help us out any way you can, guys. We'd appreciate it.
There it is. All right.
Mr. Al Heyman time. He's a fucking mental case is what he is.
PBC hit it out of the park again, baby.
That was a nice softball game, guys. I enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah, what questions would you ask him, Mr. Al Heyman? I asked Jason. Incidentally, I asked Jason earlier.
What do you mean? What do you mean I would ask him? Just fucking Google it. Just Google is a...
All right.
Dude, I just called in. Why are you hogging my fucking call? What the fuck? Why are you hogging my call?
Anyway, I asked Jason early on. I put him on mute, so just shut up and listen like a good boy. I asked Jason early on in the week. He was like, you better ask him some really hard questions. I said, great. Give me some questions to ask him. Jason comes up with, why don't you fight anybody? That's the question.
Well, look.
What are you, stupid? That's not even a good question.
Look, for everybody out there listening, you have to remember, in order to get these fighters to come on,
you gotta grease the balls?
No, But you have to be able to treat them with respect. You can't be attack dogs when you do a podcast like this. You want people to say good things about you.
It's not even it's not even
Why
about
you guys,
being an
I
attack
haven't
dog.
even said anything. You guys are fucking hogging up my
questions.
call. What type of bullshit is this?
What do you?
I mean, come on.
Bullshit is this? I haven't even said anything. You guys
Because
are
you
fucking
have
hogging up
nothing
my call
interesting
like
to
little
say.
fucking
But
females.
go ahead,
Get
please.
back off, you little fucking bitch. Let me speak.
Please
Jesus
go ahead.
Christ. You're fucking like slobbering all over his fucking ass. Like you should have asked him. When are you gonna fight
Christ.
somebody?
That's not-
all over mine. So what's the difference?
See, Jason,
When
you
you gonna-
couldn't do a podcast.
What?
You wouldn't know how to do one.
Dude, let me talk, Robbie. Calm down, Robbie. Jesus Christ. Why didn't you even ask him when are you going to fight somebody in the top 10 or something? I mean, that's not
Because he's already fought.
Because
He's already fought
Joshua next. Stupid.
He's already fought guys in the top 10.
Who?
Hellenius was in the top 10.
Adam Kanaskie was in the top 10, wasn't he?
Washington was in the Washington was in the top 10.
I don't think so. Maybe
Yes,
15.
he was in the top 10.
Yeah.
I don't think he was 10, babe. I don't think so.
Yeah, look it up right now.
But you know, is that his best win? Like with Washington, and I heard that he's not fighting Joshua next. I mean, I heard his wife.
What about Duapis?
He's going to fight in the Wembley like he always does.
Yeah, Duapis was in the top 10 when he fought him.
Yep.
Duapis is the top 10
He was
fighter.
like retired and like 40 years old when he fought him, dude. He was like retired when
All
40.
right, but that's not what you're
You made a statement. He never fought anyone in the top 10, and he did.
Right.
Besides Joshua.
I don't think any.
Besides Joshua Wilder and
Ortiz, White,
Ortiz, and White.
Ortiz, White, Brazil.
Why didn't White fight him?
Brazil. Povetkin. Why doesn't he fight him?
It's not like
Why
he's
doesn't
not
he
trying
fight
to get
anybody
fights.
besides the champ if they're not giving him a shot?
It's not like he's not trying to get fights.
I don't know. I just feel like I feel like he's just taking the safest route like possible. The
By
safest
fighting
route,
AJ?
not even any fucking risk. I don't think he's.
AJ's safe, huh?
He's not fighting AJ, dude. He's not fighting AJ. Why do you keep saying he's fighting AJ? No, he's not fighting AJ.
See, didn't you just listen to what the man said? He said they offered me a contract for a fight in June, for Christ's sake.
He's not fighting AJ. He's not fighting AJ next.
retard,
White is fighting AJ next. Everybody knows that shit. He's not coming to America. Why do you guys keep making this
well, what are you going to say when the announcement comes out and he's going to fight in New York in June?
You lie more about AJ than Eddie does.
Jesus
You act like
Christ.
you're fucking AJ's promoters. So shut the fuck up for a second and let me speak. Jesus Christ.
All
you're doing is fucking speaking over me. God damn.
How's it feel?
I gotta be honest with you, Jason. I have a strong feeling he's going to fight AJ in June.
That's what he just said.
I think they
Who cares what he
lowballed.
said, dude? Who cares?
Wait a minute. I think they lowballed White on purpose because they want to make the Miller fight. Joshua wants to fight in New York. I really think he does.
Yeah, I think it's a bigger fight. I really do.
All
I think
that,
it's
you know, when he was acting all
fight.
excited at the Canelo fight, I thought that was just AJ being all politician, like he was just acting all fake that he cared about. But imagine coming from a 90,000 stadium to a MSG, dude. There's no fucking excitement there. There's barely any excitement. Like, come on. You can't be fucking impressed by 8. There was like 17,000 people at MSG when Canelo fought.
For a British fighter, it's a big deal to fight in the United States, man.
Have you been to New York, Jason?
Not really.
Have you been to New York?
Who hasn't been to New York? Shut up, dude.
I'm asking you. Have you been to New York?
Yeah, I've been to New York. Relax.
You're a moron, son.
No, I've never been to New York. I don't even know where that is. Relax.
You've never been out of Georgia. Son.
Yeah, okay. Dude, fucking Super Bowl's in Atlanta. It's not in Ohio, you fucking bum ass. Super Bowl would never come to Ohio.
He couldn't find his way out of Cobb County.
You can't afford a ticket to go to Super Bowl, so what's the matter?
What? Who can't afford to go to Super Bowl? You? You? You?
What about it?
You can't. Have you ever been to a Super Bowl?
I've never been.
Have you been? When have you been? Exactly. I have. So calm down, okay?
You're a moron.
Idiot. When has the Super Bowl come to Ohio? Beeb, has the Super Bowl ever been to Ohio?
Super Bowl will not go to Ohio because they don't have a dome stadium.
Because
they don't have a
piece of shit
stadium
fucking
big
dirty
enough.
town. Why would they go to Ohio?
Why would they say
it's a bum-ass town. They're coming to Atlanta because Atlanta's like the fastest growing fucking city in America. That's why it's coming here. That's why they're here. Right down the street from me. Mercedes-Benz fucking stadium.
Yeah.
They don't have Mercedes-Benz stadiums in Ohio, dude. Come on.
Well, then we'll see you at the ball game next Sunday.
Yeah,
then.
they have like Chevrolet stadiums in Ohio. Hey, what did you guys think of the prelims on the Fox Sports 1? And also, before I go there, Robbie, I heard you say one of the dumbest things I ever heard, like, in the years. I've been calling the show for 2 years. You said that
I don't know, we heard a lot of dumb stuff
Marrero
from
and
you.
Tuxedo was a bad fight. That was one of the fucking best fights of the night. What the fuck were you talking about?
You're
No, that Marrero fight was not a good. That Marrero fight was not a good fight.
Every boxing journalist, every boxing expert, they said that was one of the best fights, and everybody was impressed by both
what
of
did
them.
you think about it? Don't worry
I
about
was
what
impressed
they
by
thought
both.
about it.
I like Tuxedo. I told you, dude. I told you before the fight even happened to look out for this fight. I told Beeb also.
No.
Because I've been following that Tuxedo kid for 2 years on ES News. Joe Goosen used to train him, and Beeb, Ellie Segma used to go to 10 Goose Gym and, like, watch this kid train. That's how I know about him. You know, if I was watching you, Eric, I wouldn't know shit about him, you know?
Yeah.
All you do is run your mouth. You never fucking talk about anything boxing related.
I didn't think that was a bad. I didn't think that was a bad fight.
I thought it was one of the best fights of the night, like probably third best fight, the second best fight. Out of the 6 fights they've showed us.
I enjoyed it.
I mean, it was okay,
what about
but
that Colbert kid?
It's okay.
You were like, it's bad. You were like disappointed. I didn't see any of that, dude. It was a fucking good ass fight. Did you watch the whole prelims card, Robbie, or no?
Yes, I did. All 6 fights.
I thought the first fight, the De Jesus fight, that kind of fucking was that his name, De Jesus, or what?
I forget what his name was. The one I was impressed with overall in the prelims was Gary Russell's brother, man. Eight fights, 8 knockouts, man. He's going to be dangerous.
Yeah, but he fought a total bum though. But did you see that fight with fucking Chris Kolb? What's his name with the pink hair?
Yeah, I watched it. He did a good job.
He doesn't have power, but that substitute teacher he was fighting, he was a solid ass dude.
And he did the pink hair because he was promoting breast cancer. His mom is suffering from breast cancer. That's why he fought that way.
And it's good. I thought it was just for fun, but it's good to do things like that because people will probably remember him, you know, because it's like something stands out.
Yeah,
also, when the Top Rank has their cards on ESPN, how many fights do they show us? Robbie, do you know?
Well, from the list of fights that they've got listed, I think we're going to see at least 3, hopefully 4.
We got 6 last night. I don't think they ever show 6 fights on ESPN, do they?
No, they don't. They never have.
Also,
not
I wanted
yet.
to tell you guys another thing. You know the new UFC ESPN deal? It's a stupid ass deal, dude. They only have 4 cards in the first 6 months on ESPN TV. Did you guys know that? Only 4 cards.
That's because their focus, their attention. See, this is where I get mad at people. Most of their fights are going to be focused on ESPN Plus. I still think you can't.
11 dates on 11 dates on ESPN Plus and 5 pay-per-views and only 4 TV days. That makes no fucking sense.
Yeah, no,
that's the worst. That's the worst way to showcase your product. You're like hiding your product, like HBO days, you know. I'm very disappointed with the whole ESPN way of doing this because you have a good promotion team. Has like 12 dates.
But I don't like the way they're going to do it at all.
4 cards on 6 months. I mean, I'm not paying for fucking 5 pay-per-views and 11 cards on ESPN Plus. I'm not watching that crap, man. I'm just going to watch the free fights on TV. I'm glad fucking BBC.
Hey, look, if the pay-per-view fight is worth it, I'll pay for it. But not with the current ones we got coming up. It's not good.
The attendance last night was 9,600. That's almost 2 times Loma versus Pedraza, which was a unification. And
they said it was 13,000, Jason.
No, 9,600. Nobody said it's 13,000. You probably have it confused. 9,600. But it was Loma Pedraza was a unification that did like 5,000, and people like to say PBC doesn't know how to promote, and Lomachenko's #1 pound for pound. So I'd like to see Lomachenko fight somebody like Josesito and sell 9,600. You know, I just want to make that. Also, the ratings are also out. It averaged like 1.7 was the average around the whole show, and so it's going to peak around 1.9 or 2 million. But this was during the same time the Warriors were playing on ABC, so I'm sure ABC game did like 10 million views probably.
Well, I recorded that game, and I watched it as soon as the boxing was over. So.
There you go.
Charlos did 2.4, so Thurman probably, a lot of people forgot about Thurman because he hasn't fought in a while. He should have done 3 million.
What'd you think of Thurman?
If he was fighting, if he was keeping busy. I forgot to talk about him. Thanks for reminding me. But he's been talking about Mayweather. I learned this. He didn't learn shit from Mayweather. The way he fucking fought, that idiot, as soon as you fucking get rocked, you're supposed to fucking hold. That fucking idiot jumped around, wasted energy for 45 seconds instead of holding like 3 or 4 times. Make the fucking referee break you up. He's a fucking idiot. He's like got his fucking chin up in there like a fucking giraffe and running back instead of holding. Every 2 seconds you're supposed to hold. Like Mayweather when he got rocked by Chop Coley. Remember, Beeb?
Yeah.
He held on to him and he came right back. You hold on, you get the fucking cobwebs off your head, you fucking come back. This motherfucker is jumping around like a kangaroo and shit. The fucking idiot. And he's talking about Mayweather. You don't know shit about Mayweather, dude. Mayweather fucking dominated guys like Corley, Judah, Mosley, like you guys are saying. Even Cotto. I thought he won 8 rounds against Cotto. Easy. People like to say Cotto almost beat him. Cotto won 4 rounds max.
I gave him 9 rounds against Cotto.
Yeah, I'm being generous. Like I thought 4. You know, some people say, he almost beat him. Hell no.
I gave Mosley 2 rounds.
They just did a bad job of cleaning his nose, man. They just let that blood like all over him. They didn't clean that shit up and shit. Like Roger didn't clean that shit up.
Jason, what about the statement Thurman made that Mayweather's the best 7-round fighter of all time? Mayweather,
he was trying to bring Mayweather down to it. But he was trying to bring Mayweather down. Like trying to bring his fucking accomplishments down.
But Mayweather would win fights 10-2, 9-3. You know what I mean?
Yeah, even in his 30s, Beeb, even in his late 30s, like Guerrero against Guerrero, Berto, fucking
Canelo.
Maidana fucking almost beat Floyd. Yeah, Canelo, Maidana almost beat him, but
I had Floyd
you know who Maidana?
I had Floyd winning the first Maidana fight 7-5, but I thought Floyd won like 8-4 the second round, the fight.
If you look at the first fight when they read the scores, Floyd, I've never seen Floyd so embarrassed. Like, he was just so embarrassed, like, that I got fucked up by this fucking Argentinian guy. That's why he was, like, he was sitting on the fucking ropes and shit, like, taking his gloves off. He was pissed. That's why he gave him an immediate rematch, you know, because he was embarrassed. That's the real champ. When you get embarrassed like that, you give him an immediate rematch and you fucking prove yourself, no, that I can beat him. That's what Canelo didn't do with fucking Lara. He would not give Lara a rematch. Hell no. Because that was a tricky fight. He just moved on. Also, I was going to say, Keith, I think Mikey, some people were saying Mikey would beat him. I wouldn't be surprised if Mikey, because remember last year Mikey was calling Thurman on and people were like, oh, Mikey's just fucking clout chasing. Imagine if Mikey fought Thurman last night. What do you guys think?
Yeah,
you think Mikey would have beat him, right?
Absolutely, Mikey would get Thurman. That being said, I haven't seen Mikey at 147, but yeah, I think he would absolutely get Thurman.
Well, Mikey's fighting the wrong guy at 147.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
That ain't no
He's
lie.
a savage. But I don't think I think Manny versus Thurman is going to be good, but I don't think it's going to sell a lot of. I don't think it's going to overpass 400 pay-per-views, 400K. What do you think?
I don't think the Bronner fight would go over 400K. So
and it did go 400K.
I told you, dude. I told you the fucking numbers on All Access videos. That's like those are the analytics Showtime probably looks at. Like when they're putting out these free videos on YouTube. Wilder and Fury was doing around 500,000. These fucking Broner and Manny videos are doing around 1 million. That just shows you the fucking power of both their names, you know? A lot of black people bought this fight. Like, all the hip hop rappers were fucking going live.
But the big thing, the big thing that I underestimated here was because it's football season. A lot of people are watching Fox football, and they must have saw a ton of this commercials for this fight. So. That's what it was. I didn't see
Manny versus Broner promoted on Fox, Beeb. I didn't see their commercials on Fox, so to be honest. I saw Manny on the Fox Sports PBC Countdown show, but they didn't promote the Manny Broner pay-per-view on Fox a lot. They promote.
My friend came up to me and started
maybe on football, I don't know.
My friend came up to me and started talking about it, and I said, how do you know about this fight? He goes, when I was watching football on Fox, he goes, I like what they're doing. I like what they're doing now. They're bringing boxing back to regular television and putting it on Fox and stuff. I mean, I think that was a great deal. That deal's incredible.
That Mongolian kid that fought Marrero last night, what did you think about him, honestly? To be honest, he reminded me of a young Manny, just not polished yet. If he could get some good trainers and some strength and conditioning, I think that kid could be a problem, really. He hits fucking hard.
He's tough.
That tuxedo kid.
He's a tough kid.
He's only got 10 or 12 fights.
He's a tough kid.
And did you hear what they said? 300 people from Mongolia flew to watch his fights. I mean, that's real fans right there, dude. That's like GGG, you know? He could build into something.
Yeah, that's pretty
build
crazy.
that into something. You could hear them chanting his name. I was like, what the fuck is this? He's from Mongolia. How is that happening? And Kanaskie at least sold 4,000 or 5,000 tickets, dude. There was a lot of Polish people. Polish fans are the best. They're so loud. That's badass. He sold a lot of tickets. There was like a sea of red. All right, guys. That's my call.
All right, Jason.
Peace.
Jason.
I don't know why the guy's so angry all the time.
He is. Somebody in the chat said, "Why is he always so angry?" He's a.
I'm glad that's over with. My God. Jeez. The guy didn't pay attention. He was just on the show, and he just said, they offered me a contract for June. Hello, that means if he signs it, he's going to fight in June, and he's going to fight Joshua. I mean, what part of that don't you understand?
Wow, Robbie's pissed.
Robbie hates Jason.
He
hates Jason. He can't even hide it either. He hates Jason.
I mean, for Christ's sakes, we just talked to the guy before we bring him on, and it's almost like he didn't pay any attention to what the guy said.
Area code 805. 805.
Hello, live. Nacho. Hey, Nacho.
Hey, what's up, gang?
Not much.
As far as the PBC card last night, I thought that Lopez got kind of a little bit of a raw deal from the judges because I thought he fought a better fight than they give him credit for, and I thought the fight was really close, especially towards the second half of the fight, because Thurman looked like he pretty much ran out of gas like the last 4 rounds of that fight. He definitely looked like he was just trying to run out the clock and basically, avoid getting beat by Lopez towards the end. I thought Lopez was coming on towards the end of the fight, and he just ran out of time. Had he probably won some of the early rounds, then I think he probably wins the fight from Thurman. But he put up a hell of an effort, and he deserves another shot for sure against somebody in the PBC realm. Who that is, I don't know, but we'll see what happens. The other fight, the Kawaki fight, or
Kanaskie.
I don't even know how the hell they say his name.
Adam Kanaskie.
Yeah. Kanaskie. Yeah. I think they have to eventually put him in there against one of their, bigger names. The kid just keeps waxing all of the second-tier PBC heavyweights. I mean, he already beat Spilska. He beat, he just beat down Washington. Like, he's mowing through these guys with ease.
I think he fights Brazil next. That's my guess.
I wouldn't mind seeing that, or against Louis Ortiz. To be honest, I don't think him fighting these second-tier heavyweights is doing him any favors anymore. He's proven that he's ready for that step up.
No, so I think Dominic Brazil is next.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that fight. I think that's a solid step up for sure for Kowalski. And then the other fight, I can't even say it.
I didn't like that Marrero Mongolian guy.
Yeah,
I didn't like that
fight. Though, the thing is, I thought Marrero gave that fight away because I honestly thought that Marrero did not let his hands go in the first half of that fight, and he didn't. He let Tug just take those rounds at the beginning. It wasn't until the middle of the fight on that he started to let his hands go, and you could see he started to tee off on the guy. And I'm thinking to myself, like, if you had done this at least 3 or 4 rounds earlier, you would have won this fight very easily. And that's the only reason why Tug won that fight. But as far as him getting Gary Russell next, that's a bad matchup for him. I think Russell beats him pretty easily.
Yeah, that's a walk in the park for Gary Russell.
Yeah, I don't think he's ready for that type of fight. So, for sure, Marrero's a good fighter, but he just seems to, like, sleepwalk through the first half of the fight, and then all of a sudden he wakes up in the middle of the fight and then starts to realize that he's down on the scorecards, and then he tries to, fight his way back into the fight, which is a terrible strategy on his part. But for some reason, he seems to do that. But, it is what it is with that guy. As far as the DAZN card, the fight that was probably one of the best fights of the weekend was Jukan and Jesus Rojas fight. That fight, they went toe-to-toe practically all 12 rounds, and they beat the hell out of each other, and Jukan ended up winning the fight, although the scorecards were very questionable, to say the least. I didn't think that he won that many rounds. Like, they had him winning 9 rounds on 2 of the cards, and then I think 8 on the other. I thought that fight was 7-5 either way. I could definitely see that fight being 115, 113 for either guy. So I was totally shocked that they said it was 117, 111, and 118, 110. I was like, that's ridiculous. Like, that's basically not giving Rojas any credit. I thought he put up a hell of a fight, and the judges basically acted like Jukan did all the work in that fight, and, you know, he didn't. I thought that Rojas put up a really good fight, and they gave him no credit whatsoever. I wouldn't mind seeing a rematch, though. Hopefully they end up making a rematch. In the main event, Munguia, he looked okay. Like, he definitely added a few things to his game in that fight. Like, you could see that he was moving a little bit more, like creating angles, and he was trying to throw the jab a little more regularly, unlike his previous fights. The thing was, Inoue was just a tough, rugged dude who had a really awkward style, and he just made it a rough and tumble fight, and he was able to, you know, get in there and make it really tough for Munguia. But Munguia landed some shots, especially in the second half of the fight. He was starting to tee off on Inoue throughout the second half of the fight, and he just can take a beating, basically, because at the end of the fight, his face was all swollen and red, and he looked like he had been beat up. And Munguia did what he had to do, and he won. But I'm starting to think that he might not be sticking around at 54 much longer, because it looked like he definitely had trouble getting down to 54. And they asked him after the fight if he thought he was going to be around at 54, and he said he was willing to stay for a few more fights and then eventually move up to 160, which I think is going to have to happen sooner than later, because he looks like he's struggling to squeeze down to 54.
Yeah, he sure
and
does.
I definitely would like to see him. Yeah, I definitely would like to see him fight somebody else, although they keep mentioning this awful mandatory that he has next, some guy from Australia named Dennis Hogan, who I'm like, who the hell is this guy? Like, I mean,
well, that was kind of like my reaction when we first heard about Jeff Horn. Like, who the hell was Jeff Horn? Remember that? Yeah, it's same kind of deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who the fuck is Jeff Horn? That's right.
Yeah. So yeah, he's pretty much in the same boat. So
yep.
I don't know. Hopefully he gets a big fight at 54 before he ends up leading the division, because it would be a shame to see him win a belt and make a bunch of, you know, paper defenses without fighting somebody who's known at 54. De La Hoya keeps claiming that he wants to have him fight the Charlo brother that's at 54. So let's see if they can actually make that fight, or if it's just him, you know, blowing smoke up.
Yeah. Well, my question is he willing to work with the other side? That's the big key.
Well, I was at the Caleb Plant Uzcategui fight a couple weeks ago, Robbie, and Beltran and Munguia were actually at the fight that night. Mm-hmm. So I'm wondering if maybe Beltran isn't trying to talk to them about eventually trying to get him a fight against one, if not two of those guys on that side of the street. But we'll see. I mean, because Golden Boy is his co-promoter. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. But yeah. All right.
All right,
guys. That's my call.
All right. Thanks, Nacho.
Appreciate it, man.
All right. See you.
How do we go from Jason, who's so, like, out-of-the-box crazy, and then we always hit, like, Nacho, who's so, like, mellow? I don't know.
Yeah, he's mellow. He talks about it. I mean, now there's a guy, he doesn't matter where it is, he watches the fight. No matter, you know, he does whatever he has to do to watch every single fight, and he comes in here, and he's knowledgeable about every single fight, breaks it down, and and when you mention guys to him, he'll talk about them, and he'll mention, well, this guy is perfect for so and so, and now that's how you break down. That's how you do a phone call. That's outstanding stuff.
Robbie really likes Nacho. You notice that, Beeb?
Yeah,
he loves him.
He loves Nacho and he hates Jason.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Little
favoritism going on here, huh?
Well, I mean, hey, we Californians, we got to stick together, you know?
Please, Robbie.
Beeb, you know what time it is? It's time for another banger.
Back with another banger!
What's up, Corey?
Hey, everybody.
Where you been, cousin?
How's everybody doing, man? Long time.
Where you been, cousin? Back with another banger!
Man, nice to be back on the show, man.
Banger!
Calm down, Beeb.
Please, Robbie.
I say calm down. He says, please, Robbie. That's great. Anyway, what's up, Corey?
Wait. Yeah, man. How you doing, Robbie, Eric, and Beeb? How's everything going, man?
Good, man.
Hey, we're good, man. We're good.
Hey, man, that's good, man. But, yeah, man, let's talk some boxing, man. So the fights this weekend. Oh, first off, I want to say, way to go. Kudos to you, Eric, for taking that pie bet. You got dethroned by, picking Adrian, the problem Broner. I don't know what the hell you were thinking, dude, but kudos to you for
hindsight's always
letting your daughter smash the shit out of that. But hey, man, come on, man. Adrian, the problem, man. He hasn't been the problem since DeMarco.
I disagree. I think he's a big problem right
now.
Well,
you know what, Corey? He's more of a problem outside the ring than he is inside the ring.
And I don't know if you guys knew about it, man, but Adrian Broner's actually wanted right now. He's a wanted man.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that.
He's actually, a warrant has actually been issued for his arrest.
We're going to talk about that.
He went to the game instead of that.
Uh-huh.
He went to the game with Danny Garcia instead of turning himself in and going to court. So I'm just gonna leave it at that,
Yeah.
Moving on, you guys. Lopez versus Thurman. I went live on this, man. It's one of my first live streams I've done in a while on a fight. But it was really good. It was a really good fight.
Corey, if you can hear me, you're cutting out.
Can you hear me right now?
Barely. Go ahead and.
Can you hear me?
Hello? Yeah.
Much better.
Your phone is not good, man.
Oh man, what? Oh man, let me move where I'm at then.
You're good. You're good.
Let me see something.
You're good now.
Sorry about that. I'm good now.
Yeah.
All right,
you're good now,
man. All right, so yeah. Like I was saying, man. Lopez versus Thurman was a really, it was a really good fight. It was a really good fight for fight fans. I think it did very well with the casual fans not knowing anything about boxing and watching this for the first time. I think it'll, bring in some new fans, and that's what we need, you guys. We need more fans, for boxing, to hit the mainstream. You know what I mean? You got football, basketball. You can play those sports, but you can't play boxing. You know what I mean? And, like you guys said earlier, Marcellus Wallace took his first loss. Deontay Wilder's actually front row to witness that. So, probably him witnessing his brother get knocked out like that probably doesn't sit well with him. You know what I mean? Not only was he there, his wife was there, and his daughter was there. So the whole family seen Marcellus Wallace get knocked out. Okay? So I just want to put that out there, you know what I mean? And, like I said, man, boxing is a very, very brutal sport. Did you guys see Keith Thurman's face after the fight?
Yeah.
I mean, it looked like he got hit with a Mack truck, dude. I mean, God damn. Where was this Josesito Lopez when he fought Canelo? I mean, Jesus. This dude, I seen this dude get hit with one of the best 1-2s Keith Thurman through all night, and this dude kept trucking. It didn't even faze him. I mean, he got knocked down in, the second round, and pretty much didn't miss a beat. Do you guys concur?
Yeah,
yep.
he looked, I mean, again, man, I don't know if Thurman took him lightly or what happened, man, but Josesito, he looked good last night. He looked
And
good.
you know what? Ever since Josesito Lopez has switched to Robert Garcia as his trainer, he's looked a lot better.
Garcia's very good. Garcia's a very good trainer.
Or, hey, man, I don't really want to, throw any allegations out there, man, but...
yeah, don't pull a Georgie, will you?
A program called the Snack Program, so...
This
guy kept going like he was the Terminator.
Don't go there, no, don't.
I don't know, man. I'm a little suspicious of it, too. I got to be honest, man.
Hey, I'm just saying, man.
I'm with Corey on this one.
It's a touchy subject, man, but...
let's not...
It's a touchy subject, man, but how Conor McGregor says it, who the fuck is that guy? I mean, because we didn't see this guy. We have not seen this Josesito Lopez. I mean, this guy fought last night like he has never lost. This dude has 6 losses going into this fight.
I know he's got 8 now, Corey. He's got 8.
Been brutally stopped. The way he was fighting last night, you couldn't tell a damn thing. I couldn't tell he got knocked out last night the way he was fighting. I mean, he was in the pocket, Beeb, all night long. It was not hard to find where Josesito Lopez was at. What do you say about it, Beeb? I mean, what did you think about it? Did you like the way Josesito Lopez fought? Did you like his game plan?
He did all he could do. That's what else could he have done? Really, he's not going to outbox Keith Thurman. He had to outfight him. Right?
Yeah,
am I wrong? Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
No.
I mean, yeah, you're right. You're right. But at the end of the day, I just think that Josesito Lopez could have just been a little bit more. You know what I mean? Because I feel like he was going in head first damn near. And, he pretty much, some of the times he was going in not even throwing. He was smothering his own work. Like we say Sean Porter does. Josesito Lopez pretty much did the same damn thing. And maybe he took a little bit of pages out of the Sean Porter book. Do you guys could you guys maybe see that last night? The way Josesito's style was last night? I mean, he was smothering Keith Thurman, And, I mean, I'm going to be honest with you guys, man. Watching that fight last night, man, and seeing the way that Errol Spence fights, I just think it's bad news, man. And I'm not even one of those Errol Spence fanboys. You know what I mean? I'm nowhere near that. You know what I mean? Yes, I did thought, Errol Spence was the #1 welterweight going into this fight. But I said, I got to see how Keith Thurman looks. And then, maybe I'll put him back at the #1 spot. But after watching that fight last night, I cannot definitively put him at that #1 spot now. No. I can't. I can't. And if he were to fight Manny Pacquiao tomorrow, he would get beat.
Yeah, I tell you, I said a lot of I got a lot of heat for what I said about Pacquiao last week, but I would favor Pacquiao over Thurman at this moment, and you guys know how I feel about Pacquiao at this moment. So that tells you everything you need to know about Thurman's performance and the way he looked and everything. I mean, he won the fight, but Josesito Lopez should have never been there with him. It should have never went to a decision. I mean, that guy, he was, again, like I said before in the show, man, he was chosen for a reason against Thurman. So, I don't know. Draw your own conclusions, but yeah.
And this is another thing I want to tell you guys too, man. The way Josesito Lopez was looking last night, it just looked like he could possibly be on some type of substance. I'm not saying that he was, but I'm saying that there's a possibility, man. Boxing is a very dirty sport, man, behind the scenes that we pretty much don't even talk about a whole lot, I mean, from what I'm hearing, you know, and from some of the tests that they've done, man, I mean, you're talking about 50 to 60% of boxers, you know, using some type of performance enhancement drug, man. I mean, that's almost half, man, you know. And with the WBC program, they're catching these dudes. They're legitimately catching these dudes. And if they're not catching them, you know, they're making them look suspect because they're not going to all of the, you know, the testing, you know, a la Charlos, a la Earl Spence. They don't make the scheduled dates, you know. You get scheduled dates during the WBC, and you do not go through with them, you know, for whatever reason. You know, well, we were promoting the fight and all this and all that. You know what I mean? They got all these excuses in the world, you know. But I'm just saying, they might not have ever failed, but it definitely throws a red flag on your resume, okay, when you don't, you know, go through with the testing on the, you know, the days that you're scheduled to test. Do you understand what I'm saying, you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you really can't accuse people unless there's proof, Corey.
I mean, hey, man, you know, proof is, you know, like I said, you know, you guys want proof. All I'm saying is that these guys aren't, you know, they're not taking the test when they're supposed to take the test. That's all I'm saying. You know, you don't think that's a red flag, Rob?
You can't say that without being able to prove that, okay?
Like I said, hey, but like I said, man, I just think that we should clean up the sport. You know, I would rather see a more cleaner sport. Obviously, Victor Conti is a known, proven cheat. He did time, jail time over that. And so, you know, with guys with the SNAP program, obviously there's going to be a red flag over there. You got the Caleb Plants of the world. You got the Devin Haney's of the world. You know, you got Willie Monroe, you got Danny Jacobs. You know, I'm not saying all of these guys are cheats, but they're with a known convicted cheat, you know, with known convicted, you know, substances that he sells. Yeah. You know, so, you know, shout out to Barbershop Conversations. He was one of the only YouTube channels that I've seen press Victor Conti at the airport and tried to get him, you know, an interview and about the situation. And Victor Conti said, you know what, you know, do you believe in second chances? You know, that's pretty much, you know, the moral of what he was saying. You know, he's saying that he changed his life around and, you know, all of this, and he's, you know, the best trainer and all of this. And I'm just like, wow, man, you know, he was just avoiding, you know, what Fred from Barbershop Conversations was saying, though. But you should go check that out. But, yeah, I just want to quickly go on to the Jaime Munguia. Jaime Munguia definitely looked vulnerable. I do agree with what Beeb says about, you know, Jaime Munguia needing to move up to weight. But you know, he's already showed glimpses of, you know, him moving up the weight, though, Beebs. He's already said it in, you know, interviews and stuff like that. He says that, you know, he doesn't know how much he pretty much says he didn't know how much longer he was going to be at 154 to fight these Charlos, to fight these Herds. He said, I wouldn't mind fighting him at 160. That's his exact words, and I quote him. He says, I don't mind fighting Charlo and Herd at 60, you know? When you say stuff like that, you're not going to be at 54 for too much longer. I'm sorry. You're not, you know? So that WBO belt will be vacant. I'm going with less than a year, Beeb. I mean, is that spot on or what? I mean, I don't got him being,
that's
being the WBO champion in 2020.
Easy. Yeah, I would agree with you. I agree with you. I agree with you 110%.
You know, so you know, so I mean, I think he did look, you know, he did look reasonably well. Like Eric said, he looked. I think Eric, you know, gave him a little bit more credit than maybe I would have. I just think he looked vulnerable, Eric. He got hit way too much, man. Those hits from a Jarrett Hurd, you're talking about night. You're talking about where's your pillow. You're talking about, you know, good night.
Look, Jarrett Hurd. I mean, Jarrett Hurd's also the best in the division. I don't think there's any question about
would
that.
Stop, you know, Jaime Munguia, man. If they were to fight, Jaime Munguia would get stopped by Jarrett Hurd, you know.
Jarrett Hurd beats anybody in that division. I think, anyway. I don't know. I could be wrong, but I think that.
You know, so and to close it up, you guys. You know, we got some other fights coming up. We got, like I said, I just want to break down. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to get on in time, but we got the Gervonta Davis fight. Is that coming up next weekend?
No.
No, that's in 2 weeks.
That's in 2 weeks. All right, I'll probably be able to get on, but you know, I got Gervonta Davis by, I'd say, about a 5th round knockout. I think he'll knock out Abner Mars quicker than he knocked out Jose Pedraza. Okay, mark my words on that. Okay, you guys, this is a statement fight. I don't think he'll last, but I don't know if you guys knew, man. But hey, man, I'm willing to take all the bets too, man. I'm going out on a limb on this one, you guys, and I know I haven't probably told you guys yet. I know I probably haven't told you guys yet, man, but I'm picking Mikey Garcia over Earl Spence, you guys. I've been picking him for about 2 weeks now, and I'm staying firm on it, man. So that's my call. Thank you so much for taking my call in the order that you did. And you guys have a great week and a productive week. I'll get to you guys next weekend. Thanks a lot,
Corey.
man. Robbie, tell the truth, man. Stay up, man.
Why is everybody messing with Robbie tonight, man?
You know, I hate those kind of calls when somebody, well, the only reason why he looked good is because he's cheating. Well, okay, if he's cheating, prove it. I hate those kind of calls, man. I do.
Who did he say was cheating, Pacquiao?
Lopez.
Oh.
Well,
I don't know about that.
Well, the theory is that the Balco thing with the snack, Victor Conte owns a snack company, that supplement company.
Yeah, I know. Snack. He owns a snack gym up in the Bay Area.
Right,
yeah, I'm aware of that.
I'm just explaining it to everyone.
Okay.
He owns the snack company in the Bay Area, and it's supposed to be like all natural supplements and everything like that, legal supplements and that kind of thing. But Victor Conte has got all these boxers up there, athletes now, and everything like that. But Victor Conte, again, was involved in Balco. He's the founder of Balco. I mean, so it's tough to – it is – I see his point. But it's just like accusing Pacquiao, when he was back in the day of taking steroids and everything. You have no proof. You have no proof of this. We all kind of suspect things, and I'm not Conte's biggest fan. So, it is what it is. But, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't necessarily know that Josesito Lopez was cheating. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying I don't really trust Victor Conte. So,
no, Eric, I can
either, but
Eric, I can see where people are coming from because once somebody gets caught, you're always going to wonder about their tactics in the future.
And he got caught for a big deal. I mean, this wasn't like a light thing. I mean, he got
I know. Yeah. I get it. Because I follow baseball. Believe me. That messed up the whole sport of baseball, and there's still debates going on, just exactly how many people use it. Believe me, I'm very familiar with that whole case. But just because somebody decides to work with somebody, unless there's constant proof that there's something going on, like Alexander Povetkin, for example, he failed 3 or 4 tests? But yet he's still allowed to fight. I mean, Josesito Lopez and people like that have never failed tests. So don't come on here and say that somebody's doing something unless you can actually prove that they've done it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I hear you.
Yeah, but Robbie, we're never going to see someone actually sticking a needle in their ass.
I get it.
There's no unless we hide in the locker room when they're shooting up. We're not going to catch them.
No, I get it. I just hate those kind of calls, man. I do.
One time on Twitter, I tweeted him and I asked Victor Conte. I said, if you never got caught, would you be doing this now? And he goes, that's like asking your aunt if she had balls, would she still be your aunt?
Oh my God. That's an answer in itself, but okay.
There you go.
That was funny.
60 seconds.
From this day, you'll be my new fool.
Georgie!
The disputed champion. The disputed
and champion. The new!
Disputed,
what's up, Georgie?
And the
Georgie.
Listen,
listen, bro. The lack of respect here for the Ringside Reporter champion is outrageous. No respect, bro. Oh, fuck, the champ is waiting on the line. As a matter of fact, put the kids to sleep because I'm going in. Outrageous. Stop with Robbie. Robbie, what's going on, baby? We cannot be living in this paradise land that you live on, baby.
10 seconds.
We gotta go to the real world. 80% of all this nigga they juicing. Straight up. What?
Okay, all right.
What you need? What we talking about here, Robbie? You are old cat. You've been around the block many times. What we saying? Say something, Robbie.
Well, talk about last night's fights, Georgie.
All right, let's go with that. Yo, Munguia ain't shit. Let's start with that, too. As a matter of fact, Bruce Lee got robbed. I'm not calling Ewing. I'm not calling Bruce Lee, though. That can remind me of Bruce Lee. Yo, Bruce Lee got robbed. He ain't got robbed or what? Yo.
What did you say? I'm sorry.
Yo.
Can you hear me?
Ewing, the dude for fucking Jamie, did he got robbed or not? What do you guys think?
You talking about Hyman Munguia?
Who won the fight?
Munguia. You don't think anyway won the fight,
do you think that the Asian dude got robbed?
Are you saying that anyway won the fight, Georgie? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Son,
Eric,
this is why you're the paper champ.
You have to handle this.
This is why you're the paper champ, son. Son, there's no way Inoue won that fight.
Listen, it ain't no way Munguia won on that bicycle. Last night was the fucking race.
He just sounded like the Joker.
Bicycle, everybody. Thurman on his bicycle, Munguia on his bicycle. Yo, listen, it's Spoke City. Everybody got exposed. All these PBC fighters getting exposed. We're gonna have to put Jason on fucking suicide watch. All of them. The whole repertoire. Just taking L's. The Charlos, Wilder, fucking all of them getting exposed.
He called it anyway, Bruce Lee.
It's a matter of time, B. Jason, I'm coming for you. Yo, we need a segment in the show so we can have two callers debating. Can we do that?
Then we have two callers just engage? I think we could do that.
Yeah, we can do that one of these days.
Yeah, I want to put some work on Jason.
You want to put some work on Jason?
Jason keep
now,
work on Robbie every day.
Now that I want to see. That I want to see.
I'm putting work on you every day. That's an abuse. It is some real competition. I'm the champ. You don't want to take no private, that's fine. Just put it on the phone.
Hey, Robbie's never bet. How come Robbie? That's a good question. How come Robbie you never pie bet?
Because with the way that these fights go, I know I'd take some pies.
You know what it is, Robbie? He's an old timer. Robbie, see me and other postcard retired people. That's the difference between you and me, Eric. I'm testing around the world. You're being out there playing people.
Well, you know what? After the way Keith Thurman looked last night, he's not going to be around much longer. I'll tell you that.
Oh, that reminded me. You guys, the other day, like 2 weeks ago, you guys were talking about the greatest, one of the greatest of all time. You're talking about Sugar Ray Robinson.
Yeah.
Talking about the Porter, the Kid, the Spence, any of this nigga gonna put work on him.
Son,
and you guys want to retract that now?
No.
All three of you.
I'm not going to.
You don't want to retract that?
Nope. Different style back then. You got to think about different
style. You're out of your mind. You're gonna tell me what?
Different style back then.
What'd you say, Eric?
That's like you saying that Henry Armstrong could have beat anybody today. He couldn't. Look at his style. Go look at those old tapes, man. I'm telling
Are
you.
you talking about Eddie Hansen, who went multiple weight division where we didn't have no junior, nothing?
I don't care.
You talking about those times? You say compare those times with what's in those when motherfucker got to jump like 20 pounds to challenge?
I went there.
That's what you talking about? Same way in?
I went there. I know it's boxing sacrilege, man, but look, it is what it is.
You out of your mind.
It is what it is.
All these people juicing and you want to compare.
Man, speaking of juicing, Georgie's on something tonight, man. He's on something tonight. Yes, he is.
I'm on that true juice, baby, on truth. High on truth. Nobody not putting on bullshit here.
You've been talking to that Boston Mafia, man, and they've been juicing you up, haven't they, brother?
They got me pumped with the best.
Okay.
Yo, let me have a big one. I don't have a big too much. Yo,
all right.
To the UK, everybody in the UK, trying to get this fucking Sky going for you guys. Need more callers here.
Oh,
well, you know what?
Fucking Jason coming here talking shit.
You know what? You missed it last week. We actually did have a UK caller, man. So.
I know. I left him a comment on the comment section. You know.
Yeah. We don't think Georgie listens. Come on.
Brothers out there, you know, to call the show. We need more opinion. Cause boxing belongs to the world. All these USA.
Absolutely,
USA
man. Hey, we're for the people. That does not mean just the people in the U.S. We're for people everywhere. If you want to call in, we're going to fix it so you can call in.
Right,
so there you go.
We don't have anything to do aside from sit on the phone for 6 hours listening to phone calls. Just
no,
saying,
that's true.
You know,
yeah.
Just saying. You know, I just want to throw
we
that
actually
out there.
We actually have a show to do, but
right.
You know that's.
If it gets lost in the shuffle.
Anyway.
Well. Nice talking to you guys. I know you guys busy. Want to go do your own thing. Thank you for the show. Coming here every Sunday. Once in a while, Beeb be putting his own videos. Everybody support the channel. Jason, stop being a bitch now that you got that range. Don't time nobody for no reason, because I'm coming for you, B. Shit. I'm out here.
Georgie.
All right. See you, Georgie.
Georgie was cutting out on us, so we had to get over.
He's all wound up tonight, man. Woo!
He sure was, wasn't he? A lot of people wound up tonight.
Yeah.
Let's get to the news here. 400,000 pay-per-view buys for Pacquiao and Brawner. Many sources have reported that Pacquiao and Brawner have 400,000 pay-per-view buys. This pay-per-view actually did better than Wilder and Fury. Are you surprised, Robert, by the numbers?
Yeah, I am, because Wilder and Fury was a much better fight. Hell, going into the last round, it was questionable on who was going to win, and especially when Fury got knocked down and was able to get back up and make the end of the fight as competitive as it was. I'm shocked by these numbers.
I am too. I didn't expect the fight to do as well as it did. Beeb, did these numbers shock you?
Yeah, they did. I was expecting 250. So these numbers really shocked me. They did much better than what I anticipated. And you know what? People have to understand, too, that the pirating of these events is so strong now. The amount of illegal streams that they have now is crazy. So back in the day, you know, when pay-per-view was booming, they didn't have as much illegal streams as they have now. But even, you know, Mayweather back in 2015, they still had to deal with illegal streams back then, and still with the McGregor fight in 2017. So with him getting those numbers, that was even with the illegal streams, that's incredible. But it's harder now to get great numbers because of the illegal streams, I think.
They have a ton of illegal streams now. I mean, they really. It's really getting tough. I mean. And like you said, to do good numbers, it's almost impossible. So the fact that they pulled out 400,
it's hard.
That's big.
400 is a good number. It's a really good number.
I agree. All right, let's move ahead. This week, it's time.
Chugga, 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 choo, choo.
Now, you didn't really want to pie me last week, correct? That was one of the, get out of here. Just get out of here. Just go. Let's go. Go giggle somewhere else. Unbelievable.
Well, you've given her something she's going to remember the rest of her life, Eric. So, you know.
Train wreck of the week this week. Adrian
The champ
Bronner.
is back.
He
The champ is back.
Home. Adrian Bronner issued an arrest warrant this week. He's wanted. He's a wanted man in Florida. TMZ is reporting that an arrest warrant was issued in Florida for Adrian Bronner this week. Bronner failed to show up in a Broward County court once again on Wednesday, and the judge issued a warrant for his arrest immediately afterwards. Bronner, instead of being in court on Wednesday, was in Los Angeles. In fact, he went to the Lakers game on Thursday night with, was it Danny Garcia, I think it was?
Yes.
Yeah. His people, I don't know who is, the people close to him, everybody with him, man, they need to pull him aside and say, dude, you need to slow down. They need to give him, he needs an intervention in the worst way. He, I was on Facebook, and I saw somebody was commenting about the fight, about how Adrian Bronner lost. Mike Stafford, is one of his co-trainers, says he didn't lose. Now, I don't know what Mike meant by that. I don't know. I don't know if he thought that Bronner won the fight or that, maybe Bronner beat himself. I don't know what he meant. But, man, I tell you what, they've really got to get, tough with that guy. They really do. And, I mean, not just for, this type of thing, but he's having trouble, in life, Beeb, what were your thoughts on this?
Well, this guy's got to get his act together, man. That's all I can tell you. He's got a family. He's got kids. He's got a fiance. I hate to say this, but I hope he's not headed for jail. I hope he's not going to get locked up for a long period of time. Because, when you keep trying to slap justice in the face time and time again, at some point, they're not going to take it anymore, and they're just going to slap a big sentence down on you because they're watching him now. He's on the radar.
Yeah.
So he just better be careful. That's all I can say.
And I don't care what the warrant was for. He didn't show up in court, whatever. And you can't keep doing this without them. They're going to make an example of you. You've already been to jail. I don't get this guy sometimes, man. I don't know where his head's at. And that's why I think, like I said, man, the people close to him have got to pull this guy aside and say, what gives here? You need to, pull it together here. I don't know. All right. Great news on Adonis Stevenson. According to Stevenson's girlfriend, Simone God, Stevenson is actually up, walking and talking with the help of doctors and physical therapists. So there you go. That's some great news. News we like to hear for sure. Let's talk about the other news here. Sergey Kovalev has issued a statement. This is odd, and we were talking about this earlier, Robert. Kovalev took to social media this week to release a statement about the alleged assault that took place. This is his statement. All right. Dear friends, boxing fans, and everyone who is up to date with the latest high-profile news regarding me, I would like to ask all of you not to make hasty conclusions on the situation in which I am accused and put into light in a note entirely biased manner. Reading his words, not mine. After all, you do not know the details of what happened. For me, this is most of all seems to be a performance in which I play the main role by not will. His words again. Doesn't it seem strange to you that the incident happened in June of last year and they announced it on the eve of my rematch against Alvarez? I don't know. And
well, looking at it from his point of view, that is kind of strange.
That's an odd statement to make. Did not deny anything. Did not, it's just an odd statement to make.
Well, I'll go back to my original point. This is a bad look for this card, and I don't know if this fight was originally supposed to be in Texas, but maybe Kathy Duva and company decided, you know what, he's in legal trouble. We better go to some place that will let us skate by here, and so we can make our money. And we'll worry about the rest of the stuff later.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
And
well, that's the other thing. You bring up a great point too. Is Kathy Duva's his promoter?
Yeah.
How does she feel about all this? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I don't know. It's that's got to be a tough pill to swallow.
Bad look.
Yeah, for sure. Canelo Jacobs rehydration clause. Ring Magazine stated there's a rehydration clause for Canelo and Jacobs. Basically, the way it goes is there's a same day, I guess the next day weigh-in will be held at 8 a.m. On May 4th, and you're not allowed to exceed 170 pounds. So they'll weigh in at 160 the night of, and then the day of, the day of the fight, they can't weigh over 170.
Well, you know why that is. Remember when Jacobs fought Triple G? He purposely didn't weigh in the morning of the fight and came in close to 180 pounds.
Yeah. That's a rumor, though. That's a rumor because that hasn't really been.
We don't know.
We don't know. He's saying he weighed about 173 pounds. That's what he claimed.
But I bet you I bet you this is to avoid something like that. That's my point.
Well, I don't know.
You know.
I don't know. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, Canelo has a history of doing this stuff. He really does. So
yeah, I know he does.
Yeah, and I'm not real crazy about it. I know it's the IBF rule, but that rule is not in effect here because it's a unification. So. Louis Neri signs with the PBC Pantera. He just got back from a drug suspension, I believe. Not 100%.
You are correct.
Yeah, so I don't know. Good pickup, yeah, I guess. Let's see what we do.
We'll find out.
See what PBC decides to do with him. I don't know. See what he has left after that. He's been suspended for a while. Bermain Stavern versus Joe Joyce is official.
Oh my God! Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's official. I don't think it's a bad fight. I want to see it. I like train wrecks. So.
Yeah, and no, it'll be a train wreck, but Joyce will come out on top.
Yeah, Stavern's gonna.
Who's the better fighter? Is it Akoli or Joe Joyce?
Well, Beeb, you would know more about that than me. I've only seen Joyce maybe once.
Joe Joyce is probably not as technically gifted as Akoli, but wow, that's tough.
They're both fairly, it's
close.
Fight. That's going to be a good fight, I think.
It's close.
Yeah, Stavern. I think that I don't expect much from Stavern, especially after his last outing, but.
That would be a good question for Mr. Boxing Today in the chat.
Yeah.
Who do you think's better, Joyce or Akoli, Mr. Boxing Today?
He just said that Joyce beats him. He said that he thinks Joyce beats him. Joyce and Stavern, he said sparred last year. He thinks Joyce beats him. So, final bit of news: Mayweather.
Wait.
Go ahead.
Well, you asked me if Joyce would beat Stavern, or if he was better than Akoli.
Is he better than Akoli? Who's better?
Oh, okay. Yeah. I thought I know he's going to beat Stavern. I didn't think that was the question. Okay.
Yeah.
No.
Mayweather and Pacquiao run into each other again at a basketball game. This is the second time this happened, fueling speculation that they will have a rematch. I hope not.
God, I don't want to see it.
I know, right? Last but not least, Robert, who's your Super Bowl pick?
I am going to pick the New England Patriots. I've been debating this all week because I like both teams, but you can't beat experience, man. And Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, they've been here more than any other team. I think Boston gets another title. Patriots beat Rams.
Beeb?
What do you think I'm going to say?
I don't know. You could go out on a limb.
Come on.
You could be,
it's only,
he's in Massachusetts. Come on.
What do you think I'm going to say here?
I think he's going to say Chargers.
Chargers aren't even in there. It's the Rams.
Only one. New England Patriots. New England Patriots, baby.
All right. Well, I'll pick the Rams. I picked the Eagles last time. I picked the Rams. I'll pick the Rams. That's who's in it, right? Rams?
Yeah, and the halftime show is going to suck, everybody, so find something else to do during halftime.
Who's playing a halftime show?
Maroon 5 and some rap dude.
Maroon 5. You don't like, what's his name, the Maroon 5 guy?
They're okay, but nothing special. Find something to do.
Who would you like? Who would you like in a halftime show, Robert?
You know.
Who would you like in a halftime show?
No, are you if you want real entertainment, bring back the Boss or somebody like that who can be entertaining.
All right, there you go.
Bruce Springsteen, Van Halen,
Robbie's going deep.
Come on.
Said bring back Tupac. That's what Robbie said.
No, you can't dig up somebody from the grave.
Oh, that's cold.
Please, Robbie,
wow, that was cold, man. On that note, that'll do it for this edition of Ringside Reporter. As always, you can catch Robert on Twitter at Ringside Robert or call Ringside Robbie's Corner at
773-572-7781. And thank you for all the calls this week, people. And I'm glad I've been able to answer people's questions so far. Really, guys, that's the best way to get a hold of me. If you got a question, you want to talk about something, the podcast is there. And after you're done listening to the podcast, if you want to leave a message, just do so, and I'll get back to you.
There you go. You can catch Joe Habib on Twitter at jhabib1, and you can find his YouTube channel at ringsidereporterlive.com. I'm at Ringside73, and we will see you next week.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.